Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, as it always should be. Find you in good spirits. I know that it's been some trying times as of late. I know that there's been a lot of some big bad news that happened over the last 24 hours. And I got to be honest. Yeah, I understand. I'm frustrated too. All right. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. I mean, I think it's the same thing, right? But still, no matter what, we have to regain focus, right? We got to keep looking for this young man, keep talking about it, keep bringing it up in conversations and all that stuff. Regardless of anything, we need to figure out where he is, right? Now, we got to get into this conversation. So do me a favor. All right. Do me a favor before we get into everything. Okay. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to every single last one of y'all. Okay. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. We got a couple things that we're going to be looking to or listening to and looking at. A few updates that I wanted to share with you guys before it flies under the radar that clarifies a few things as well. So we're going to be talking about a few things in just a minute. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button down below. That'd be greatly appreciated, please. And thank you. Okay. If you're watching on Facebook, please, or Facebook, any of these platforms, follow me on my platforms, Facebook, X, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all there. Follow me there. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay. And of course, and if you're watching on YouTube, please consider just crushing that subscribe button and being a part of the family. Okay. Your boy's working hard out here in these streets. Real talk, out here in these YouTube streets. All right. So that'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay. Yes, Melly, as she just said, you know what I mean? Get that coffee, get that vitamins. All right. Get your breakfast and your vitamins in and that coffee. And I'm still drinking my coffee too. So, okay. We got to get into this conversation. All right, guys. Now, I know that there's been a lot of conversation. I heard something about a leg being found. I have yet to see an article about that. Personally, I just heard that through the grapevine. Don't know if that's entirely true or not. Not here trying to throw shade at anybody or anyone. I just haven't seen the article myself. I'm kind of waiting for that article to appear somewhere. But I understand that there are body parts that were found in Mississippi. I am still quite curious if that has any connection to this or not. All right. It could. It may not. Shoot, they could find body parts in Montreal right now, and I'd still be wondering, could it be connected? You know what I'm saying? Because it's been over 70 days, if I'm correct. Maybe I'm off by many or some days, but no matter what, it's been a while. It's been over 2 months since Sebastian Rogers has been seen. And you know what? I'm going to share with you guys his face, because we're going to keep on talking about it. We're going to keep on bringing him up as much as we can, as much as there are updates and new details. We are going to be talking about it. Okay. Facts, not drama. Okay. So let me pull this up really quick because some of you guys are maybe new to the story, maybe new to the case. Okay. But this young man went missing in February, late February, after having allegedly, according to his mother, after having a really great day, going out, bowling, eating some great food. They went back home. They went to bed. She was on the phone with her husband, his stepfather. She woke up the next day to get him to go to school, get him ready to go to school, and he was gone. He just disappeared out of nowhere. And that was well over 2 months ago. No one knows where this young man is. We are all still wondering what the heck happened here. And did he really just, as Seth said on the show in the past, did he just use a Jedi trick, like use the Force and levitate out the front door? Did he just evaporate into thin air? Like he's like next level David Blaine? We don't know. Obviously, those things are not, it's not real stuff, but you know what I'm saying. How could this young man just suddenly just get up and vamos without a trace, guys? It makes no sense, right? So we've all been wanting to know what's going on. And of course, a lot of us have been, I get the passion, I get the frustration. I most definitely understand the frustration. And I think that we have to realign our focus, right? But for a second there was this photo that was out here. And the reason why I'm bringing up this particular photo is because we have some new stuff I want to share with you guys on this before we go on to other pastures here. Okay. Before we go into the Nancy Grace podcast with the full interview and all that, we are going to be listening to that here in a second. There was a sighting, an alleged sighting of, there was we all got really excited when this photo surfaced and people were like, yo, this person said, hey, I was in the area. I saw this kid looked a lot like Sebastian. I took that photo. Of course, TBI has it. And I also put this up here as well, just to let you guys know. And of course, the internet erupted. Now, it obviously was extremely polarizing. Some people looked at the photo and said, oh, that be him. That's him. All right. That is Sebastian. But then there's other people on the other side, deniers, of course, saying, nah, I don't think it's him. Man, this may be AI, right? Remember AI for a second. I think that's important for us to remember. But there was a lot of debate about this. Apparently, people were taking the photo and putting it into AI detecting software. And apparently it was coming back that it was not AI, right? There was even people speculating that the woman in the pink, okay, off to the side, as you could see, here's my mouse. If you can see my mouse, I'm circling around the woman in pink, okay? There was a lot of speculation about this woman. There were people saying, oh, that's somebody who's connected to Seth. I saw her sitting with him because, doing such and such in this other spot, doing such and such. There's been all kinds of wild allegations. And let me say this really quick. I understand. All of us are emotionally attached to this case, or all of us that know about this case. Let me say that, okay? All of us that are attached to this case, that know about this case, are somewhat emotionally connected to the case. We all want this young man home. We all want him safe. That's all we want, right? So I get it that all of us out here are very passionate, right? Wanting this to be figured out as soon as possible, because as the days roll by, he is still out there and he is still, in my personal opinion, in danger. He's still in dire straits. But they were looking at this woman, lots of speculation. Some of these people had to step forward and go, guys, it's not me. Hi, that's not me. Sure, the profile, the side view of my face is close to that, but that is not me, okay? It's been pretty wild. There's been countless conversations about whether this is Sebastian or not. And is he being held against his will with anybody? Some people were speculating that this was a family member and all that. Well, we got some new information. Okay. As of right after the show I did with you guys yesterday, there was new information that came out around that time. I didn't get a chance to hop on and talk to you guys about it, but I'm here to give you guys the information so that you guys can understand exactly what the heck is going on. Okay. But I want to share this with you guys. Somebody did step forward. Remember when Seth and Tony came onto the show and we were talking about if this is somebody's kid, somebody else's kid, and it's not Sebastian, would they have stepped forward by now and say, hey, whoa, this ain't Sebastian, this is my kid, right? And we all asked that question. Somebody, I think, asked that in the super chat. I thought it was very, very smart. Okay. I thought that was extremely smart, a good point, and all that stuff, right? But somebody actually did. It's very interesting. Let's take a look at this. All right. These are pics of my son. I won't say it out loud, but these are the pics of my son. Okay. Not the missing boy, Sebastian Rogers. And that's me in the pink shirt. Please remove all posts and pics of my son and me off Facebook, please. I pray you do find your son safely. Now, one thing I will say is I do appreciate her saying this because honestly, of course, we want all of our loved ones to be home, safe and sound, and all that stuff. But one thing that is true, it's like, yo, my son's face, this photo of my son is being plastered all over the place. Holy crap. Can you please take that down? Because it's not him. It's not Sebastian. My son is my son. This is not Sebastian. Now, let me show you guys something else. Hold on, let me get this up. This is, it's pretty. Stop. I mean, I'm going to show it to you guys. Pretty damn surprising. And what? Oh, GB just said she deleted her FB. What? Her Facebook account because she was getting harassed. Why? That makes no sense. That makes no bloody sense. Yeah, I mean, they don't look a lot. They don't look super alike. But I could see somebody out here walking around, suddenly sees this kid and goes, whoa. You know what I mean? That's Sebastian. Yo, that's Sebastian. Now, I do think that the photo, okay, I just wanted to show that to you quickly. You guys saw it. It's done, okay? But I do think that the photo itself, let me just pull that back up, of this alleged sighting, okay? This obviously not a sighting, all right? I mean, if you look at the photo, yes, yeah, hell yeah. When you look at it, his head is down and all that. Of course, you're going to sit there and go, wait, that looks a lot like him. Yo, that could be him. Take a photo real quick. I mean, we do say keep your head up and your eyes open. And if you see something, say something. And I don't blame the person who took the photo if it was for the intent of thinking that this was actually Sebastian. It does look close. That photo I just showed you is pretty damn close. It's close, but it's not Sebastian, obviously. You got the mother stepping forward and being like, yo, can you please take that stuff down? Can you please take this photo down? This is not who you think it is. And yes, let me tell you this. Like I said in the very beginning of the show, I'm frustrated. I'm heartbroken because you got to remember, this was enough for family members to drop everything that they were doing and drive several hours to Linville, North Carolina, It was enough for them to go, yo, I got to go. This looks like my son. So much that Seth actually did believe in his heart of hearts, that yes, that is my son, right? Without a shadow of a doubt, that is my son. And unfortunately, it's not. Now, one other thing I want to point out. Remember, I said AI. Remember, I showed you an article yesterday, and in that article, they were saying, "Oh, is it a possible AI generated photo?" Well, the mother of this in this photo, the woman in this photo, who is actually the mother of this child, stepped forward and said, "Hey, that be my son. So it ain't AI." Then the other thing too, because some people were out here going, man, some of y'all, woo, boy, oh boy. And I understand, I get it. We all want to figure out, we all want to find him. But some of you guys are holding on to something that's not real. Meaning, some of you guys are going, oh, that's him. I don't care what you say. That is him. No, it's not. No disrespect to anybody. But the mother has stepped forward. There's photos of her with her son. It looks a lot like him, but it ain't him. The other part is too, they had video. Law enforcement had video and looked and did their due diligence, followed this, traced the family down, went to the house, met up with the parents, met up with the family, and got to see this young boy for themselves. And that indeed debunks all the things that are out here saying that this is Sebastian. So we kind of have to let that part go. Yes, it sucks. Yes, I'm just as frustrated as y'all. But it's time to maybe go back to square one and keep moving forward. And I say this all the time. I try to keep it positive as best as I can. Okay? I'm a glass half full kind of guy for the most part. All right? But sometimes you have to take a step back so you can leap forward. And I do believe that, okay, this is showing us proof positive. I look at this and I say, okay, there's silver lining on this. There is light at the end of this dark tunnel. Let me explain to you that, hey, this means that people are keeping their eyes open. This means that people know enough, at least in the area, about Sebastian Rogers' case. And I have to say, yo, regardless, hell yeah. I think that's beautiful. Real talk. Now, yes, it wasn't Sebastian. But what does that mean? Some of the things I just said a second ago. And also, it just means that they take a step backwards. Hopefully, they realign themselves, refocus, and look at the grander picture one more time. They retrace the steps again. Sometimes going all the way back, starting from the beginning, you see a different path. You see it in all kinds of other investigations all the time. All the time. So there is a good possibility that, hey, by us taking that step back, they go, whoa, we didn't try this angle. Let's try this angle real quick. And maybe that is the thing that unearths everything. Now, I know a lot of people have their personal opinions and their theories about everything in regards to this case and other cases too. But we can't sit and dwell on this one thing. Now, I know we're going to be talking about Nancy Grace, and she's going to be asking about this sighting that ended up being debunked. So we are going to be listening to that. But I have to say, it is time, after we hear this, it is time to start moving forward and looking under every rock, every cave, every body of water, every wooded area as best as we can. That's the only thing we can do, is pushing forward. Pushing as forward as we can. It sucks, but at the same time, we got to figure this thing out. And if we sit and dwell, that's another day that Sebastian ain't home or Sebastian ain't in safety, right? Let me get these really quick. Rook, thank you so much for being a member for the past 9 months. Happy to be a part of the family. I appreciate you being a part of the family. Thank you so much. True Crime, thank you so much. Never looked like Sebastian to me. Looked similar. Yeah, it looks similar. I mean, look at the photo again. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a downward angle, all that stuff. So shoot, it makes me very inquisitive, right? Of course, I'm going, wait, could that be him? So then what would be the scenario here? Why would he be with this family or this woman for the most part? Why? Mind you, I want to show you this too, or I will mention this because I already showed you guys the photo of the kid. All right. The kid is not Sebastian, and it is a real person. It is not AI. It is not generated AI. The video that they have from law enforcement is indeed a real video because they went to this real family's home and they really had contact with this real kid, not AI generated, just so y'all know, okay? So, sure, it looks a lot like him, but I want to share with you something. The photo I showed you guys just a second ago. There was another kid in the back. There was another kid, the brother, I'm assuming, was standing next to the mom in that photo. He's right there in the back. Right there. Blah, blah. Okay? So any person that's out here going, oh, no, that ain't, I don't believe it. It is him. Well, it's been debunked. Thoroughly debunked. All right? So, moving back on to this true crime. Thank you so much again. Let's see. Now people can go back to looking for Sebastian since many may have stopped due to speculating this was him. Yep. Took a lot of attention from the search, in my opinion. Now, I agree. I mean, yes, a lot of people I think were going, well, let's just wait. Let's just sit back and wait. Law enforcement hasn't confirmed. They have not denied. They have not debunked anything about that photo, right? They haven't, right? So now it's time for us. They did that. We saw it. We now know it's done, right? So, and I think a lot of people sat back waiting to hear what law enforcement said. Now law enforcement has said that it's been debunked. We now have to push forward. We now have to go back to ground zero. We now have to figure out what's going on here and where he is. I mean, in fact, I there was other things of saying, certain parties were instantly saying that it was not him right at the jump. But then you have other family members that were like, no, that I believe that's him. It's very interesting. I don't know what to make of that kind of stuff. Honestly, I really don't. Right. I really don't. But now that we have that figured out, now that we have that whole thing debunked, let me just pull this photo back up again, because this is Sebastian Rogers. We still don't know where he is. Now, I know this may be a little bit older of a older photo of him younger, but at the same time, burn it in your brains. And let's get back to finding this young man, right? So I just want to make that abundantly clear, okay? So, and I get it. I'm frustrated too, okay? I'm just as frustrated as anybody else. It's time to roll up our sleeves and it's time to make the donuts, right? So, now here's the thing. There is an interview with Nancy Grace. She's got a whole panel of people. A friend of the show now, Lauren Conlon, is on there as well. You got Tony, you got Seth, you got the polygraph guy. I don't know what to call him. You know what I mean? But the guy who ran the polygraph, they explain everything in this podcast. Well, it's a show, but I think she does the podcast. She releases the audio first, and then she puts out the show the next day. So I'm sure the on-camera version of this interview will be out at some point today or tomorrow. Okay. But I wanted to play the podcast part for you because we did listen to a clip. She shared a clip talking about the polygraph, and they said Seth had a polygraph. He passed. But there's more to the podcast, which I thought was interesting. And I know you give people more details, it gets people more and more thinking that something else is going on. But there is some interesting information in here that I think it clears a few things, because there's all kinds of people out here with their speculations and their theories and whatnot. But I wanted to play this with you guys so we can listen to it, hear what's going on. And because the video on camera version is not out yet, but I wanted to get ahead of it so we can take a look at this and see what's going on. Okay. And yeah, everybody has their theories of, it must have been an accident and then a cover up. There's other people that think that he was dropped off at some sort of facility that won't give out his information to Seth, which makes no sense to me. It doesn't. And then if it's like he was at a facility, the only pushback I have is if he was at a facility and he was dropped off there, and this has gone nationwide, right? Everybody is checking this out. Why would they go? Why would the Proudfoots do a whole thing of he gone? That doesn't make sense to me. Why would they, if he was at a facility, why would they drop him off at the facility and then do this whole thing? Call up the news, make a whole big deal about it, call the sheriff's office. Why would they do that if he was in a facility? Like I said, the math ain't mathin'. So I don't think that he's in a facility. Unfortunately, I don't think that. All right. In fact, if he was in a facility, I would hope he was. I would hope I'm wrong. That would mean he's okay, that he's in a facility and he's being taken care of. He's got a roof over his head, 3 square meals. He's got a bed to sleep in, all that stuff. Right? But logically, it doesn't make sense. Logically, it ain't making sense. So let me share with you guys this audio, okay? Because it's we need to hear this. All right. This is the podcast. Let's take a listen. Hit the number 1. Let me know you guys can hear this, okay?
Get enough bacon?
Let me tell you about our concrete mixers at Culver's. There's so
bacon.
Breaking news tonight. After a so-called sighting of missing autistic boy Sebastian Rogers at a Blue Ridge Mountains rest stop, Sebastian's dad, Seth, tells us it's him. And with us tonight, live, Dad Seth Rogers to address that polygraph. Tonight, where is missing autistic boy Sebastian Rogers? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
A woman rushing to meet family at the Visitors Center in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina takes a photo of the area and the people hanging around. When she takes a closer look at the photo later, she realizes that a boy in the photo bears a striking resemblance to Sebastian Rogers and contacts authorities. Investigators have been trying to locate the person in the photo. The sheriff's office confirms that they have reached out to North Carolina authorities about the picture, but so far, nothing credible has resulted from their inquiries.
Tonight, a mysterious update in the search for a missing autistic boy as a woman shares a photo of a little boy bearing an uncanny resemblance to missing autistic boy Sebastian Rogers. Joining us, an all-star panel to make sense of what we are hearing. But first, I want to go straight out to Sebastian's father joining us, Seth Rogers. You can find him at hashtag Sebastian Strong. Seth, thank you for being with us. Seth, I was stunned when I saw the side-by-side of Sebastian and the boy spotted at the guest center. What do you make of it?
When I saw the picture, I turned around and loaded up the vehicle and off to North Carolina I went.
Now here's the thing. Like I said, if this was not very close, if this kid did not closely resemble Sebastian, let's be real. Seth Rogers would not just pack up all of his stuff, stop everything that he's doing, and just drive several hours. It just doesn't make sense, right? So he believed in his heart of hearts that this was his son, and hey, never underestimated the power of hope. Let's keep it real. Hope is a crazy thing, especially when you're at a place, you're at wit's end, by the way. This has been months, by the way, that he's been looking for his son with nothing. There's been no new developments. This is the only piece. This is the only, that photo and all that was the only thing that they had. There's been nothing else so far. It's been crazy.
Lauren Conlon is joining us, investigative journalist and host of the Outlier podcast. Lauren, thank you for being with us. What can you tell me about the sighting? Because the authorities are not saying it's not him. They are saying, quote, nothing credible is pointing to the sighting of Sebastian. In other words, they haven't been able to confirm it yet. Remember, this is like a rest stop, a tourist center. People are visiting there that could live in any of the surrounding states.
Absolutely, Nancy. And I think what's important to note here is that North Carolina authorities have not identified the boy in the photo. So as of right now, it's still considered a potential lead.
Guys, joining us is Seth.
I mean, remember, this is during the time, I'm sure they were recording this during the time that the information came out that it was not Sebastian, obviously, right? So like I said, we are taking kind of a backward step, but this is the interview and this is the episode that's supposed to be coming out, I think, some point tonight, maybe this afternoon in its full on-camera form, right? Now, Olivia B., did you hear what Seth think happened? What is that, Olivia? I'm kind of curious about that. I'm kind of curious as to what you heard. That's interesting. I don't know, honestly. Okay. But put it in the chat, or if you have something, email it, please. All right, let's continue on.
Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad, and Lauren Conlon, host of Outlier podcast. Seth, tell me what went through your mind when you first saw this photo, and when you compare them side by side, it's really uncanny.
My son's alive.
Doppelganger.
Then he looks good in the picture. I mean, he's got clothes on. He's got shoes on.
Do you recognize the clothes?
No, I don't.
How about the shoes?
Don't recognize those either. They look brand new.
Yes, they do. In fact, the clothes look new as well.
Okay, hold on. What? Wait a second. I'm reading y'all's comments. Hold on. Say what? I mean, I don't know. Is that true? And where y'all see this? Where? Where did you guys see it? Because that's new. That's new. Yeah, some of you guys are saying that. Wow, what? Wow. Hold on. Sorry, I'm reading y'all stuff. Where? But where did in Nancy Grace? Listen, I see all y'all going in NG, Nancy Grace. Okay, Nancy Grace. Now let me explain something to you. Hold up. Where? Because I listened to this podcast. He doesn't say anything. I've already listened to this. I listened to this last night. I listened to a little bit more. I listened to the whole thing last night. I re-listened to a bunch of it this morning. And I heard nothing about that. It was all about the poly. I'm dead ass. We're gonna listen to it. You're gonna hear. There's nothing in here that says that, unless I misheard something. We're gonna listen to it, but oh my God, no, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. That's very interesting because it's not in this. Okay, it is not in here. But let me take a look. Samuel Potts said extended interview. Where's the extended interview though? Because all I've seen is the one that's on her Crime Stories website. Because that is news to me. Okay, because I'm like, hold up. We're going to listen to it. We're listening to the whole doggone thing, okay? But if that was being said, wow. Okay. I'll keep that in my back pocket, okay? But I heard this last night. I heard this again, a little bit more of this morning, like towards the meat of this whole show. And it says nothing about that. But I don't know. Maybe they had it up before and then they recut it and took that part out. I don't know. And then maybe some of y'all saw that stuff before. I don't know. Hold on. Let's listen to the whole thing first. Let's listen through this thing first. Michelle, thank you so much. When the polygraph guy was reading his answers, interesting. Okay, we're gonna be looking into that. True Crime says, thank you again. CP Chris Proudfoot called a YouTube creator last night. A YouTuber creator last night. If you can find, please play. It's wild. There's something seriously wrong here, and FBI needs to step in. Now, here's the thing. I've been hearing about these prank calls and all that. All right. I don't know what to I don't know what to think of it. Okay, personally, because I don't know if it is actually him or no. I don't. All I know is that there's some guy out here trying to sound like Billy Bob Thornton in Sling Blade. Mm-hmm. That's all I know. Taters. Mm-hmm. That's all I know. That's all I know. Oh, and just because I can do that voice does not mean it's me. Hold up. Hold up. Because I know some of y'all are crazy. And just because I can do voices does not mean it's me. So hold up. Time out. No, I got better things to do with my life than to be crank calling people. So don't even go there. Okay? Don't even go there. All right? But I've heard about them. All right? I've heard about these crank calls. It ain't me. It could be some jerk out here just making phone calls which is insane because this is about Sebastian and we're supposed to be trying to find him and talk about that and uncover clues and stuff. Not crank call podcasts and live shows doing Sling Blade. That's insane, guys. Listen, you guys thought that Seth blowing his nose was Sebastian going hello in the background. So I have to say, whoa, just because I can do that voice does not mean, y'all, come on. Don't even go there, all right? That may be Chris Proudfoot, but I don't know. And neither am I going to play him. I'm not. You guys know where they are, okay? Y'all know where the interview is, okay? Or the interviews or those phone calls are. Go check them out for yourself. But for me, it's wrong. And it's not wrong that you guys want to listen to them. I'm just saying whoever's doing it, it's wrong. It's wrong, y'all. Come on. It's wrong. We all know it. And it's not funny. It really isn't. But that's just me, though. Okay? That's just me. Mindy, thank you so much. If you like to listen to the call, CP ends up coming out at himself. It's sick. Yeah. Like I said, it could just be some really messed up person just trying to mess with people for content or just for fun, or it is actually CP out here just being a jerk. And if that's the case, that's sad. Okay, that's sad. That's really, really sad. But then it's also at the same time, this, if it is him, that shows you the kind of character and the kind of person that we're dealing with here. See, even that angers my dogs. Okay, this shows if that is him, like I said, if and only if, because I have only heard few seconds, like a few clips here and there. I've not sat through them. I don't want to waste my time with it. Real talk, I don't. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's wrong. That's just what I think. If it's somebody, because I get it. I'm not knocking the people who are receiving the phone call. I don't blame the person receiving the phone call. If you're a jerk and you're calling in and doing that, and that person's receiving it and just entertaining the phone call and being a good host, I'm not knocking the hosts that are receiving the phone calls. It's the jerk that's wasting the time of that host with this BS. Okay? I ain't here for it. Okay? But hey, good on those hosts for being hosty. All right? But I would have hung up. That's just me. Taters. What? I'm hanging up on your ass. Okay? Click. Done. You know what I'm saying? Period. But that's just me, though. Okay? Let's continue on, though. Now, going back to that information about what Seth may have said, I have yet to hear it in this podcast or in this interview, okay, in this audio version. I have yet to hear it. Now, will it come out on the TV version, the on-camera version? I don't know. But now I'm going to want to watch that because that's news to me. And I'm wondering where people saw that. Where people, I mean, it's not saw that, but heard that. What Seth said, because that's crazy, guys. But let me continue on. I know some of you guys sent me some messages and all that stuff. I'm gonna do my thing here. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Julia says, thank you so much for the comments. It is Chris. He comes clean and talks normally for an hour after he admitted it's him. Whoa. Okay, so now I'm kind of curious. Where does he admit that it's him? Like what? Listen. I know some people are like, don't talk about it, put other people's other content creators' names out here and all that stuff. But I am kind of curious. What is the podcast in which? And here it is. As long as they cool me, and I'm cool with them, I don't give a damn. You say what you need to say. Especially with this case, it's been absolutely insane. So, what podcast or what show does he call himself out and go, oh yeah, it's me, her? Where is he doing that? What podcast? That's what I'd like to know. All right. That's what I'd like to know. But that's interesting because I've heard clips. I've seen, you know what I mean? I've seen clips and all that stuff. So I am kind of curious. Where does he come out and say, oh yeah, Oh, no. I'm not going to any podcast platform and I'm not playing it on here. If they haven't given me the thumbs up to play their stuff, I'm not playing it. Okay. I just want to know where it is so I can actually listen to it myself with my own 2 ears, right? On my own, at my own leisure, right? So I am kind of curious about that. All right. But let's continue on here. Okay. But that's crazy. If that is him, that's an absolutely Nuck and futz. Hold on. Serenity, thank you so much. CP had custody hearing, has or had custody hearing, but you say tomorrow. So I guess he has a hearing tomorrow. Let's see his behavior after he does not get custody. I think this whole thing with Sebastian is based around that. The fact that he's missing, I don't know if it's going to be looking good for him in court when it comes to this custody battle that's happening this week, right? So interesting. Okay. No, I'm not playing anybody's clips. I just wanted to know where it is so I can take a listen to it for myself later on. Like I said, I don't play other people's stuff unless I have had contact with them to a certain extent and they gave me the thumbs up. Now I'm listening to Nancy Grace because she's Nancy Grace, right? But other content creators, I try to keep it somewhat respectful here, okay? Before I just rip their stuff off, right? So I'll take a look at that when I get some time. But I've seen a lot of these clips all over the place, all right? And people talking about it, all right? Yeah, I know. People have all kinds of people, Wani. It's going by too fast. Uncle, why am I saying uncle? I have a Auntie Nancy Grace here in my head. Yeah, everybody in the mama has been taking my videos and reacting and playing them. I know. I already know that. And I'm fine with it. You know, that's just me, as long as it's commentary, you know, but I'm not cool with taking other people's stuff because I know people play dirty. You know, some people are petty out here. I'm gonna keep it real. So, you know, that's just me. Carbonized, thank you so much. Chris has spent more time on live streams than looking for Sebastian. Telling incredibly. Yes, I agree with that too. It's interesting because he's also the same person that's telling Seth to not get on these microphones, to not go into these podcasts, and yet he's still going into these podcasts. So make that make sense. It makes no sense to me. Okay? It makes no sense. And in fact, you're seeing Seth trying to clean things up a little bit by attempting to bring in a spokesperson on his behalf. And I think there's other reasons behind that too. But he's even trying to bring in somebody to clean it up a little bit. And yet you still got allegedly Chris Proudfoot talking wild in these phone calls and getting crazy. But you see Seth trying to tighten his stuff up. You see what I'm saying? But everyone gets mad about the new guy. And I'm just like, everybody needs to chill out, yo. Everybody needs to chill. You know what I mean? Wait for some information, you know? But that's just me. All right. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Facts and respect. I mean, that's all we can do. You know, there's no reason for content creators to go after each other. There's no point. There's no point. What does that do? It just causes a whole bunch of BS for no reason. You know what I mean? It takes you completely off the case itself. I think we're all better than that. At least I hope we're all better than that, right? So it's just interesting. It's just interesting. If he is really going out here sounding like Sling Blade, but then you got Seth out here trying to clean his stuff up, so he's not slinging mud. I'm just saying, why are people angry about that? It's crazy to me. All right. S-Dubs. Oh, in all caps, by the way. Thank you. To clarify, Chris admitted the weird voice thing was him. He did not say he did anything strange to Sebastian. Okay. So he did go on to the platforms and talk crazy. So you did admit that. I mean, you know, I S-Dubs, shout out to S-Dubs. All right. So I trust her statement there. But that's still wrong. That's still very, very wrong. Okay. That ain't right. All right. But let's continue on because there's still more to this, but I'm still interested. Okay. I am still interested to see what he says unless they added it back in, you see what I'm saying? But last I checked, he it's very straightforward. It's a very, no disrespect to Nancy Grace, all right? But it is a very dry, straightforward interview, okay? So we're going to look at that here in a second. True Crime, thank you so much. JLR aired it on another YouTuber. I think Columinati. Cluminati. I know it. Yes, and I've heard bits of that, but I didn't hear in that interview him revealing himself. Like I said, I only listened to a few seconds of it, and I was like, okay, I'm on to the next one. Like, this is not facts. This is just somebody being a jerk. That's just me, though. All right. So I have heard a little bit of that one. Okay. And yeah, Illuminati came onto the show, called into the show with some conversations and information about everything a while back when we were looking at the Fireflies video, right? You know, the darkness with just the white dots floating around. Okay. So yeah, I will re-listen because I'm interested to hear what happens near the end of that interview then, or that phone call. Okay. But the fact that, we got friends in here saying that it was him revealing himself in the interview, that is really sad and messed up. You know what I mean? So let's take a listen. Let's continue playing this. All right.
How far away, in your estimation, Seth, is this rest stop tourist attraction area from Sebastian's home?
It's about 6 hours, give or take, with traffic.
How did you become aware of the sighting, the alleged sighting?
People started calling me and asking me about the picture, and then people turned around and started sending me the picture.
And again, what went through your mind when you first saw it?
I gotta go. I gotta go up there. I gotta see, the picture's there. I wanted to go see the footage because I figured there'd be some type of surveillance.
And did you go?
I did. I drove up to North Carolina.
You took the 6 hour plus ride to North Carolina to investigate this photo. And what, if anything, did you learn when you got there?
That I wasn't allowed to see the video footage.
Why?
I was told it's an active investigation, so I'm not allowed to see it.
Who told you that, Seth?
People at the park.
It's my understanding the woman who took the picture was also convinced that this looked exactly like Sebastian and handed it over to the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and then later it was posted online. Is that your understanding, Seth?
Yes, ma'am.
Seth, when you saw this picture, how did it make you feel?
Gave me hope. It rekindled what hope I was losing.
Seth, I'm looking at the way the boy is standing in this photo. I know you've looked at it a million times. He's got his right arm somewhat over his stomach. And I'm wondering, does this pose look familiar to you?
By the looks of it, he's stepping down off the rocks and stuff. He's looking at where he's going.
Yeah.
But he's also been missing for 2 months. So his demeanor and everything could possibly have shifted.
In what way? Why do you say that?
I haven't heard from my son in 2.5 months. If he doesn't have a phone with him, he hasn't heard from me. If somebody convinced him to go away and won't give him a phone, I don't know.
Let me ask you, Seth, is it correct that your PI that you had to hire, which is a whole nother can of worms, spoke to the person that took the photo?
No. My other PI, Chloe, she's the one that spoke with him.
I couldn't hear you. What?
The other PI on the case, she's the one that spoke with them.
Mm-hmm.
So a PI on the case did speak with the photographer, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the PI learn?
When she took the picture and why she didn't call 911 immediately, and what she did when she reviewed the picture, and the fact that she asked why she put it on social media, and it was because she stated that it was because TBI didn't get back with her after she had submitted it.
What else did you learn? Why did she decide to take the picture? And what else could she tell you through the PI about who this boy was with?
Nothing.
What was he doing? Was he crying? Did he look hungry? Was he with a man or a woman?
The individual that took the picture, it was actually her husband that took the picture because he was faster with his his phone than she was. And they were driving by, and he took the picture. And then when they were able to look at it, they submitted it to TBI. They didn't hear back from TBI that they had received the picture or anything else, so they put it out on social media.
Guys, the photo we're talking about. To Lauren Conlon joining us. Lauren, exactly where is this rest stop or tourist attraction?
Hold on. Some are saying that part of the is saying that about Katie was removed from the interview for legal reasons. Interesting. Okay, interesting. I'm glad you guys are letting me know about this. And yeah, I also want to say, ain't no slinging mud over here. I'm not slinging mud at nobody. Okay, I'm here to just trying to find out what the hell is going on. Because if there is that's out here like floating around, I want to get down to the bottom of it. I want to know what the hell's going on. I think everybody wants to know. If there is information that's out here like that, what? I'm surprised, right? I'm a bit surprised. And I think all of us would be surprised, it's interesting, right? Now I will say this too. This is just somebody's theory. It's not him with the facts, right? But it's interesting. Like I said, and here it is though. Let me say this too. There's no shade here to any of these other content creators that are out here that are covering this case, period. If there are people that are on team Proudfoot, there are people that are on team Seth Rogers, but they're all here trying to figure this out. They're all here trying to find out where Sebastian is. So in my mind, I see it as still under the same title, Team Sebastian. We're all going to disagree. This case has become split down the middle. It's become polarizing. I think at the end of the day, when he is found, we'll find out the truth, right? More importantly, we need to figure out where he is. And if people think that the Proudfoots are innocent, then they think that he's innocent, or that they're innocent. That's all right. That's all right. That's okay. Just like there are people out here that believe the Proudfoots did have something to do with this, or one of the Proudfoots had something to do with this. And when the truth does come out, which hopefully it'll eventually come out sooner rather than later, I think we'll all be singing a different tune when the truth comes out, right? And when he is found, right? So I think we need to, just be cordial, be kind to one another, all right? Because that's how we should be doing it, right? A unified front for the greater good, regardless what side of the fence you stand on. That's just how I think about it. So if Seth did say that, that is news to me. But let's continue.
So it's in North Carolina. It is the Blue Ridge Mountains Visitor Center. And like Seth said, Sebastian did not appear to be in this photo. And I think all of us are very hopeful. And I think it's amazing that Seth went to North Carolina and drove 5 hours from Tennessee.
Back to Seth. Did the man or the woman see who the boy was with?
No, they said they didn't even know if they were with the group or not. They didn't know if the lady was with them.
What lady? The lady in the pink shirt?
Yeah.
Did he emerge from a car?
They just saw him as they drove through where they're at right now was like the parking lot is behind there. Right in front of there is the entrance into like the gift shop.
Yeah.
So him being there, there's no way to see if he was getting in or out of a car right there.
So he was on his way into the gift shop, Seth?
That's the direction that he's heading.
Well, that seems to me that there should be gift shop surveillance video or at least other witnesses. So is that the surveillance video you were trying to get, Seth?
Yes, it was.
Now, we know that a statement has been issued that, quote, nothing credible is pointing to any sign of Sebastian. That's pretty vague. Nothing credible is pointing to any sign of Sebastian. That's incredibly vague. It doesn't say this picture is a hoax, this picture is a fake, this is not Sebastian. They're not saying any of that. What do you make of that response, Seth?
That they don't know what to say.
Joining me, guys.
Now, of course, they don't. At that time, they didn't have everything yet, right? And of course, the world is looking at this. Everyone's obsessed with this case. Everyone's hyper focused. Everyone wants to know what the hell's going on. And of course, they're looking at law enforcement going like, what's the news? What's the news? What's the news? Of course, they're going to sit there and go, we cannot confirm or deny that this is Sebastian right now. We're doing everything we can. It's an investigation. It's an ongoing investigation because they don't want to be wrong. Law enforcement was law enforcing. They're doing their due diligence. Okay, take your time. I'd rather you be right than wrong, right? So of course they're going to sit there and say, we can't confirm or deny that this is Sebastian. We're looking into this right now, right? So I'm not surprised by that reaction. Yes, it's frustrating for all of us because we want to know like lickety split right now. You know, we live in this TikTok Vine type of world where we want everything in 6 seconds or less. But at the same time, it's still a potential family that could get tormented for no reason, targeted for no reason by 5-0. They don't want to make a mistake by just barging into an innocent family's home because of just a photo. You see what I'm saying? So I get it. You know, they need to do what they need to do.
This also is Irv Brandt, renowned investigator, former U.S. Marshal Service, International Investigations Branch, and author of Flying Solo, Top of the World on Amazon. Irv, thank you so much for being with us. Now, this is a conundrum. If this boy is Sebastian, the way his father thinks that it is, I mean, look at it for Pete's sake. Look at the side by side, the chin, the jawline, the nose, the hair. It's uncanny. It
was pretty wild.
Gift shop in the middle of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a needle in a haystack. Irv Brandt, what do we do?
Nancy, the video, the picture, the way I see it, and if the father says that's his son, that's good enough for me, of course. But the investigation is going to center around trying to get anyone that was there at that time, maybe looking at video of the parking lot, running down tag numbers, trying to find other witnesses, other people that may have been shooting video and inadvertently captured his image on their video. I can imagine that the police are just, the investigators in this case from multiple agencies are just searching all different kinds of avenues, looking for clues. And when they make a comment like no credible evidence so far, it's basically like saying no comment on the investigation. They don't want to say either way, but I would imagine that this is a crucial piece of information to their investigation.
Well,
listen, you just heard what this guy had to say. One of her all-star panel experts just said. They had to do everything they can to figure everything out before they pounce, before they make the wrong move and do some sort of mistake or give off a potential napper, all right, the vibe that they're hot on their trail. We talked about this yesterday, and we still have to put that in consideration, that no matter what, the police have to handle this extremely gently because you don't want, say that he was being held against his will and there's this monster of a person holding him. God only knows if that person was to find out, oh, 5-0 is right on my track, right on my trail. What are the chances of that person doing something devastating to that kid? So they have to do everything they can to tread very lightly, very carefully before they go for the kill. You know what I mean? Go for the knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, we understand you have this young boy. Can we see?" It's like, no. Oh, that's my son. That happens to be my son. Can we see him? Can you bring him out, please? Okay, honey. And he comes out. You know what I mean? They're doing everything they can. They're looking at they're tracking the tag on the license plates. They're doing everything. They're doing a deep dive into the person who actually owns that vehicle, the location of where that vehicle is going to be driving to, of the residence in which this kid's going into. I mean, there's a lot more to this than just them going, "Oh, it's him." Hup, 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 hup. You know what I mean? Knock down the door. "Where's Sebastian?" They can't do that. They'll get sued like a mother lover too. Let's not forget that too. They can't be wrong. They got to be right. So everything they do, they can't do it twice. Okay? It ain't couscous. You know what I mean? You can't say it twice. You can't do it twice. This situation, you got to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. And then you go for the kill, right? So let's continue.
To me, and of course, I'm just a trial lawyer, the first thing I would do is pull that surveillance video, the way Seth Rogers described, and I would go in and look for every single receipt. At the time, that picture was taken, and the photographer gives us the time and the date that it was taken, every single receipt. Then I would find out if there's any surveillance video in the parking lot. Just find out if he went to a car, which obviously he did. What car? It's got to be on surveillance video. Agree, disagree, or rant? I mean, you're the former U.S. Marshal going all the way around the world finding people. What do you do next?
Nancy, I agree. I mean, the car is the most critical thing. If you can identify the car that he got out of, even if you don't have a tag number, the make and the model of the car would be just crucial to send out a bolo to the surrounding states, then potentially finding witnesses at that time, like you said, checking receipts in the gift shop and interviewing people that were there at the time, something that they may have seen. An autistic boy may stick out in their memory, seeing him, and they may have, looked at that person, at that boy, at the people that he was with, and if a skilled investigator asks the right questions to these people, it can lead to crucial leads in this case.
I still say it's a needle in a haystack, but a needle can be found in a haystack. Seth Rogers with us, Sebastian's dad. Seth, when you look at these two photos side by side, I was looking at the nose, the chin, the jawline, the demeanor, the hair. What looks similar to you?
All of the above. Nose, the way his hair that comes over,
What do you mean by that?
everything on there just screams my son.
What do you mean by that? His hair, because his hair goes in the same direction. My son has a cowlick.
Let me just say this. This part is very heartbreaking because you got a dad that's sitting there going like, yo, like you got Seth going, yo, that hairstyle, how he looks, I know that his head is down, but man, it just feels so much like him, like you got to understand like where where a person's mind is at right then and there. You know what I mean? Especially after 2 months of nothing, 60 something days of nothing. And then all of a sudden you see this photo and you're like, well, maybe that could be him. Yeah, maybe he had a different haircut. Maybe it's a different pair of glasses. He even said on the show about a week or so ago that he went through like 6 pairs of glasses in a very, very short amount of time because he keeps breaking them, right? He could get a new pair of glasses. Then it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're going through all those things in your mind going, okay, this could possibly be this really could be my son. That's so heartbreaking, right? Because like I said, if he had that moment where he was like, I don't know if that's my kid, I don't know, he wouldn't jump in a car and drive several hours down to North Carolina just to be in the area of where his son, this sighting was last, of this sighting, right? At the location of this sighting. You get to the place where you start going almost kind of insane, where you think anything's possible at this point. And we've already seen that quite a bit. We've seen that quite a bit in this case, where things have just gone a little crazy. And not only just on Seth's side, we've seen it on the Proudfoot side too, or at least with Chris, because Katie is nowhere to be found. Have we heard her talk in a while? No, I don't think so. Has she? I don't think she has. It's been kind of crazy, right? So I guess all of her lunacy or her mental breaks are happening behind closed doors. So it's interesting.
In a certain spot on his head.
Yeah.
And no matter what happens, his hair tries to part in the middle. Since he was born with no hair, but you could see kind of like a little part in the fuzz. And it's been that way forever. And I'm looking at the way this boy's hair is going over toward, yeah, it's the same as Sebastian's.
It looks like my son.
Nancy Jackie Howard here. The local sheriff says the boy in the photo is not Sebastian.
Seth, one more time. Do you believe this photo captured in the Blue Ridge Mountains is Sebastian?
I do.
Straight out to Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth Rogers in this very, very difficult time of need. Tony, question. You've heard the response of LE law enforcement. Quote, nothing credible is pointing to any sign of Sebastian. What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you what it means to me. It means that it's a plausible deniability statement. It gives them an out if they do indeed find it to be him. It's just a very vague statement. You know, there's a lot of ways to deliver that information that would get people to believe that, yes, it's him, or no, it's not him. And I don't think that delivery did anything to assure people one way or the other.
Interesting. Very, very interesting, right? But let's continue here. I think there's like commercial break stuff. Hold on.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace.
Or maybe not. Okay, never mind.
Seth,
I was wrong.
did you say you have or have not, would not take a polygraph?
I would.
Wonderful. If I set one up for you, will you take the polygraph?
Yes, ma'am.
We all remember that moment when I put Sebastian's father, Seth, on the hot seat on national TV and asked him, would he be willing to take a polygraph? He said yes. He did take a polygraph. Straight back out to Seth Rogers. Joining us is Sebastian's father. And now joining us is a renowned polygrapher, Kendall Schule, former head of the entire FBI polygraph program in D.C., former special agent with the FBI in D.C. He is at Kendall Investigations. Also joining us, Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth Rogers as he walks this very, very rocky path. First of all, let me just get this out of the way. This is a yes, no, Kendall Schule. Did Seth Rogers pass his polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Skadoosh.
Okay, Seth Rogers, tell me about going and taking the polygraph. We want to hear every single word because I've got a stack of nasty online posts about you failing, about you not going, blah, blah, blah. A lot of trolls chiming in. Let's get to the truth of that polygraph. Seth, what happened?
I showed up early for the polygraph. Mr. Kendall contacted me and told me that he'd be there well before the time that we had stated. So I showed up and I sat in the chair and let him attach those things to me and took the polygraph.
Have you ever had a polygraph before?
No, ma'am.
Hold on real quick. I thought you were being neutral, but making snarky remark about Katie. I'm waiting for real factual information, but that's factual information. We haven't heard anything from Katie in a while. So how is it wrong for me to state something that's actually true? I'm just curious about that, right? We don't know how anyone would grieve. That's true. You're absolutely right. We don't know. We don't know how anyone would grieve, but we haven't seen anything from her in a while. And I think that's interesting. But you have you got husband out here making crank calls. I think that's wrong, right? Instead of actually just staying quiet and not saying anything and waiting for facts to come out, he's out here on podcasts and stuff, sounding like Sling Blade. I don't think that's right. So I'm just stating facts. It's true. Okay. She has not been out here talking at all. And she doesn't need to be, but it is something that is true. Okay. And husband, if he really is doing this kind of thing, he really needs to stop doing that because it's not helping him at all. Right.
And what kind of questions did the political...
Hold on. I don't think it's helping them at all. That's what I mean. But that's just me, though. Okay? That is just me.
I sat in the chair and let him attach those things to me and took the polygraph.
Have you ever had a polygraph before?
No, ma'am.
And what kind of questions did the polygrapher Kendall Schewel ask you?
If I had ever wanted to harm anybody, if I ever wanted to hurt my son, if I had ever hurt my son, if I'd ever had anything to do with his disappearance.
Question. You said they hooked you up. What do you mean by that, Seth Rogers?
They put things on my hands. They wrapped cords around me. They had a blood pressure cuff on me to measure my blood pressure, measure my heart rate, my breathing rate, things like that.
How long did it take?
It took a minute.
It took 60 seconds. Could you be precise or more precise? How long do you think it took?
We were there for 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's about right. It's not easy. Okay, sit tight, Seth. And again, thank you for being with us. Out to Kendall Schewel, as I told you, former head of the entire FBI polygraph.
Now, one thing I do want to point out, okay, because I think that they do address this here in a second or in a little bit, that if I'm correct, if I'm gathering the information from this interview and from this show correctly, they did 2 separate polygraphs, and I think it's because of, remember, Seth fell asleep. Okay. It had Seth on like in there doing his thing, and apparently he fell asleep. So I think that they had to do it all over again, if I'm correct. So I'm going to take a look. We're going to hopefully they say that here. From what I listened to last night, maybe they changed things in this podcast. I have no idea. All right, but let's take a listen.
Program in DC. Kendall, thank you. When we put out the word that Seth Rogers would take a polygraph, we contacted you because of your reputation. You quickly agreed, and I thank you for that.
Hold on real quick. The Wanda Life. Thank you so much for this comment. Okay. I'm happy that you're saying this. Okay. Okay, Pascal, but you have Seth going on podcasts, and a particular one where he bragged and laughed about spitting and putting hair and dirt from the floor in a man's pizza. Now, I've never heard about this, honestly. So that's news to me, but I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like we can all agree they've all been messy. They've all been messy. So I'm not sitting here taking sides at all. All I'm pointing out is that you see that you have Seth at least trying to clean things up a little bit. Okay. He's not going on podcasts and talking crazy. He's not going on podcasts, making voices. I'm just going to stay on the alleged side right now. Okay. He is just trying to keep the word out here, trying to find his son. That's literally what we have. Okay. Now, I'm not, I'm not sitting here trying to say that, one is better than the other. Not at all. They've all made terrible mistakes. Okay. They've all done really, really bad things in phone calls and podcasts and interviews. But I had noticed that now Seth is at least trying to step back and trying to clean that stuff up a little bit. That's it. That's basically it. You just see what I'm saying? So if he did say something about a pizza, dirt, hair, and putting it in the dirt and the dirt and hair into a pizza, that's news to me. I've never heard about that story at all. Okay. But now I feel he is starting to go, whoa, I messed this up. I made some mistakes. It's been a mess. It's time to clean up this mess and do the best we can going forward. Because at the end of the day, the mess has nothing to do with finding Sebastian. It doesn't. You see what I'm saying? So let's see, like Grace is even saying, that's the first time hearing that as well. If that's actually true, that's news to me. I've never heard of that in my life. Real talk. But at the same time, okay, if that's true, then hey, it is what it is, right? They've all said things that they shouldn't have said on podcasts and in these interviews for the most part. And I think that he's stepping back and he's trying to clean things up a little bit. And I think we should respect that and let that happen. Let that moment happen.
Again, this was not free. He was paid to do the polygraph. He owes nothing to anybody, and therefore was not swayed one way or the other. He had never met Seth Rogers before in his life. Mr. Schul, I've looked very carefully at your polygraph report right here. Number one, you start off by saying it was conducted using a comparison question format that meets U.S. government standards. What is a comparison question format? What is that?
It's a format that's well accepted by the polygraph community, particularly the American Polygraph Association. There are certain formats that we can use that are more acceptable, that we know are more reliable. And this was one of those, certainly a test format that I would want to use to make sure we're doing everything right to get the correct results. And this is again a format of polygraph that is widely accepted as a standard in the FBI world and in the polygraph world in general.
Now, you also state that you used state-of-the-art Lafayette LX6, the computerized polygraph system. And I'm wondering, is that, for instance, when you get on an elevator and you see the last time it was inspected and you see the type of elevator it is, or you take a mammogram and you see the last time it was inspected and the type of equipment, machine that's being used. So you say the polygraph charts were the data was collected using state-of-the-art Lafayette LX6 computerized polygraph system. What is that? And please dummy down for me. I'm just a trial lawyer.
And there are several companies that make polygraph equipment. The one that the FBI uses, the one that I've always used, the one that I believe is the best, is a Lafayette system. There are different versions of that polygraph equipment. It obviously is always has additions and corrections and made to it. And I started out with an LX4, I believe it was, went to a 5. And then the latest state-of-the-art equipment that Lafayette currently makes is the LX6. And of course, we keep up with the proper software that's required as well. But that is the state of art. That's the best polygraph instrument, I believe, that is out there in the polygraph world.
Well, you had me at the FBI uses it. Is that what you said? This is what the FBI uses?
I did. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Also, when I'm getting to the end of my technical questions, I like to lay a foundation before I get into the meat of the issue. The polygraph charts were evaluated numerically and globally. What does that mean?
It means we look at it globally to see if we see any issues with the collection of the charts, the physiology that's collected. We kind of get an idea, but then numerically means that we actually give a number to each relevant question that's asked, and we give it a plus or a minus. And there are certain scores that we believe have to be obtained in order to either pass or fail somebody or call them, no opinion. But in addition to that numerical score that I gave, there are also 2 scoring algorithms that we use that the computer has that scores the charts, that way.
Okay,
and
hold on.
therefore,
Kendall Schul, when you start talking about algorithms, okay, you lost me. I said dummy down. You also said this opinion is applicable only to these questions, not to be construed as an assessment of Seth Rogers' truthfulness in other areas. That makes sense. You also state there are 3 outcomes. 1, deception indicated. 2, no opinion. And the other is no deception indicated. Correct? 3 choices, right?
that's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Now, could you tell me what was Seth Rogers' demeanor when he entered your office?
We had a great conversation. Like you said, it took a long time. We sat and talked for a long time. I collected some background information from him to make sure that he's suitable for testing. In my opinion, he was.
Whoa, wait a minute, boss. Suitable for testing. You mean he's not drunk or high, right? Is that what that means?
Exactly.
Did you do the smell test? I've always wondered if polygraphers, like whenever my twins have to go somewhere on a bus or a school event, or even a plane, I always go up and speak to the driver or the pilot to just get a whiff if they've been drinking.
Did she just go whiff? I love it.
So you assess the participant as to whether they may be drunk or high or on meds.
We do. We observe that, obviously, and we're in close proximity, talking to each other. If he had any alcohol in his breath, I believe I would have known it. Particularly when I'm attaching the components to him for the polygraph test, I'm right in his face. So yes, I would have observed if he had any alcohol in his breath.
His demeanor, you say, seems relaxed. Did it remain relaxed throughout the polygraph?
It did seem really relaxed.
Mr. Schul,
Interesting.
You conducted the polygraph, and what were the critical questions that you asked Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father?
The relevant questions, as we call them, that I asked Seth on the polygraph test to determine if he was involved in any way in this child's disappearance were, number 1, regarding doing anything to cause the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, do you plan to answer those questions truthfully? He responded, yes. I then asked him, did you do anything that could have caused that boy's disappearance who we discussed today? The answer was no. And the third question was, were you involved in any way in the disappearance of that boy who we discussed today? He responded, no.
I am reading your polygraph report details, which we plan to publish. Guys, you are hearing the former head of the FBI polygraph program, Kendall Schul, who polygraphed Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth. Now, before you ask these 3 questions, do you plan to answer truthfully? Did you do anything that caused Sebastian's disappearance? Were you involved in any way in the disappearance of Sebastian? Before you ask those, I assume you asked several lead-up questions to get a barometer of how the polygraph would respond to Seth Rogers, correct?
There were what we call control questions. They might be, are we in the state of Tennessee? Is today Wednesday? Those sort of things. And those are the control questions that we get where we know he's telling the truth to.
With us is Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father. Also with us is the polygrapher who took the polygraph, Kendall Schul, and Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth weave his way through this very difficult time in his life. And Mr. Schul, let me ask you one more question. Isn't it true that you attempted a polygraph on Seth Rogers before this polygraph?
I believe we tried to set one up, and it didn't go through for some reason.
Kendall Schul, again, did you find Seth Rogers to be cooperative?
I found Seth to be extremely cooperative. He did everything I asked him to do. There were absolutely no problems with the interview that we had, as well as attaching the components and getting good physiology to show that he showed no signs of deception on this polygraph. I did a numerical scoring, as we talked about before, that showed that he passed. I also ran 2 algorithms through the computer that showed that he passed. I even went a step further when I got home and had another retired FBI agent that I knew come in and do what we call a blind scoring of these charts, not knowing who it was, what it was about, whether he passed, whether he failed, and he also agreed with my opinion of no deception indicated.
Back to
I'm curious as to like, because you got to remember, this is something that's been, they had many hours together, right? They were interrogating him, asking him questions, and I'm wondering, because there's a little bit less than 11 minutes left in this podcast version of this show. I'm wondering what other questions were actually being asked to him, because I mean, I honestly think that he's innocent with this whole thing. I don't, his alibi checks out. Apparently his alibi checks out and all that. And we obviously see how he's been operating in the search. I'm not talking about the podcast and the interviews and all that stuff. That's a whole other can of worms and a whole other conversation in itself. But as far as his activity and all that and his involvement with this disappearance, I don't think he has anything to do with this disappearance at all. But I am kind of curious as to what other questions, what other hard-hitting questions that this polygrapher asked him. You know what I mean? Because I feel like we're scratching the surface with all the questions, but I am kind of curious what the other questions were being said. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's just something I'm kind of curious about, right? But let's continue. And apparently the pizza thing was real. It's interesting. That's interesting. If it's true, I've never heard it. Right? I haven't listened to every single interview that's been every single podcast and every single phone call and all that. So if there is that and it is real, then man, that's a crazy story to tell. That's a very, very crazy story to tell. But at the same time, like Chris and all that, I'm hoping that they all realize that they need to just kind of slow it down and clean up the mess that has been out here, because it's all been a mess and they've all been a part of it equally. Okay, like I said, not taking any sides on anything as far as the podcast and the interviews. They all have been very, very messy for the most part. Not every single one. Some have been very, very informative type of interviews and all that. We've seen them on multiple platforms, even on podcasts as well. But I think that they all have made a mess and they all need to start taking some time to start cleaning up that mess for sure. And, if you disagree with that, then I'm sorry that you feel that way. Okay. They all have been messy. I was hoping that the alliance, that alleged alliance that was supposed to happen, I was really hoping that was going to change things. Real talk. I was really hoping that was going to change things, and it didn't. Then there was that interview that they had where or not interview, but they were on a podcast and they were like yelling at each other and everything. It was like, oh, damn. So much for the alliance, right? So much for trying to clean things up. But I'm hoping that they're learning from their mistakes. And I'm talking about everyone here. I'm hoping that they learn from their mistakes and they all start to clean up their acts. Okay. Real quick. Thank you so much, Linda. I really do appreciate the super chat. Grace, maybe far-fetched, but maybe he went for a walk after argument and lost his way since it was nighttime, trying to hang on to hope he's okay. That could very well be an option. Like, there's been so many different theories, man. There's been so many. There's been ones where he's been out here, they had an argument and then he stormed out and he just never returned home. There's been so many theories all over the place. And the thing is that they're all still on the table because none of them have been debunked because we don't have any clues. There are 0 clues here. 0. Okay. So it's insane. Yes. But this is the cookie that that's crumbling right in front of us. This is just how it all is, transpiring, unfortunately. Misty Fisher, thank you so much. Chris, Katie, where are y'all's polygraph results from TBI or Nancy Grace? We double dog dare y'all both to take Nancy Grace polygraph test and allow y'all's results to be revealed to the public too. I mean, here it is. I don't know if Chris took one. We do know allegedly that Katie Proudfoot did take a polygraph. Whether or not she actually passed that for sure, I don't know. That's what they're saying, but we haven't heard anything from an outside reliable source. But as far as Chris, I heard there was rumors floating around that he was taking a polygraph, but we haven't heard anything about him taking a polygraph yet. I have yet to hear him actually taking a poly. So if he did one, I'd love to see that too. You know what I mean? Or just do the Nancy Grace one and call it a day. But apparently he was hiding behind TBI at that time, or TBI said it was not a good idea to do this. And so they said that he apparently the rumor mill was saying that he was going to do one conducted by TBI. Did he do it or not? I don't know. Okay. Did he do it or not? I do not know. All right. Skinny. Inspire people to be better. Hashtag Pascal. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are taking this very, very seriously, understandably, but I think they're taking it super personally. And it's like, oh, if you believe one side, then you're shame on you. If you believe on the other one, on the other side, shame on you there. It's like, we all need to chill out because we don't know what happened here. And I'm hoping, like I keep saying this over and over again, and I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. I'm hoping that they start to work together. They start cleaning up. All of them start cleaning up. No crank calls, no silly voices. Whether you think it's just, wrong and disturbing and disgusting, or if you think it's funny, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Those things just need to be tightened up and cleaned up a little bit. And we need to keep it moving and trying to stick to the facts and figure out what's going on with Sebastian. That's it. And they all need to do that, right? They all need to do that equally. Okay. We can all agree on that. I hope we can all agree on that, actually. Okay. But let's continue on.
Seth Rogers, this is Sebastian's dad. Isn't it true, Seth, that you tried to take the polygraph a time before this one and it didn't work? What happened?
I was on prescribed medication for nerve. I've got a pinched nerve in my C5 and C6 that's causing pain down my right arm. So they put me on prescribed medication for dealing with the pain and trying to get it to relax.
What med was that?
It was cyclobenzaprine, which is a muscle relaxer, and gabapentin, which is a nerve blocker.
Seth, you have been the subject of so much hate online. I don't understand it. I've got a stack of printouts of what people have put on Insta and Twitter and Facebook and blah, blah. For instance, this one says, we had a meeting this evening and one of the moms, her daughter is an intern and works with Nancy Grace. She said a rumor is that Seth failed the polygraph, total fail. And now Nancy's team is doing damage control. Nancy was cussing because she was in a, quote, pissy mad mood. She told them polygraphs are not reliable. And so we have to be fair and say it's inconclusive. Nancy's team was mad. They don't like him because he was rude not long ago and they refused to cover for him. This doesn't, we don't have an intern, but this doesn't even make any sense. We knew all along from the beginning that Kendall tried the poly, that you were on the muscle relaxers, and you volunteered to do it again. All of this is true. This is just one of hundreds of people attacking you.
Interesting, right? Interesting. Hold on. Let me play this out.
Seth, why?
Why do people get death threats for looking for their kid?
And that part don't make no sense either. That's crazy. Okay, hold on. Before we continue, that is kind of crazy, though. Think about it. Okay. And this is the moment when I want to ask, like, the Petito family, the Schmidt Petito family, what they went through during the time that Gabby was missing. You know, were they getting this type of ridicule? Were they having people attack them as well? Were they getting threats in this kind of way as well? I'm kind of curious about that because it's insane to me that you have somebody like it just doesn't make sense. Okay. It just doesn't make any sense how everyone is attacking any like it just doesn't make sense. Okay. Like any person that's involved in searching and looking for Sebastian right now, even the people that are out there, boots on the ground, trying to find him, all that stuff, all of this ridicule, all of these threats and whatnot. Remember, they went through many different search teams that would send out posts saying, we're no longer a part of this. We're walking away due to threats and all that stuff. It's pretty crazy, right? But it's interesting because you have, Granny's watching. Yeah, because the villains were, or because the Laundries were the villains in the Petito case. That's actually very true. So everybody was very focused on that one thing. And there was no question, right? There was no polarizing thing. I mean, yeah, there was a few small groups of people that would sit there and go, well, maybe Brian didn't do it. Nah, he did that damn thing. Okay. All right. He did that damn thing. But Granny's, good point, right? They had a clear villain here. Now, this one, there is no clear villain, right? There is no clear, because there's nothing here. The only thing we have is speculation and the theory, right? And that's what's driving everyone crazy, because we're all hungry. We're all starving for more facts and more information, to the point where we're starting to turn on each other. It's getting kind of crazy here, and it's getting unnecessarily crazy, right? So, but it's wild that people are, going out of their way, sending threats. Why? Like it's that's the thing. It just doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't. And I'm going to be real, obviously I'm side-eyeing like crazy as always, but at the same time, innocent till proven guilty. We don't have all the facts yet. We haven't had all the facts yet for months now. Hopefully we'll get more here soon. But even the people that are out here actively trying to find Sebastian, I think it's unfair and not right that they're getting threats, and that there are all these crazy speculations and hate, as Nancy Grace said. It's pretty wild, the stuff that's been out here, for real. All right. S-Dubs, I would like to find out how to start Sebastian's law to initiate a full investigation on of all parents when any child goes missing. A comprehensive, full investigation, no matter what. You know what? I like that, though. I'm with that. S-Dubs. I'm with that all day long. Okay. For real. Because we need some sort of transparency here. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Shirley says, Pascal, I'm not attacking nobody. I am saying the last person to see Sebastian was Katie, and she needs to be taken back in without Chris and have a very aggressive interview. Now, let's be real, okay? Regardless what side you stand on, okay? Regardless of what side you stand on. Sorry, I'm reading comments and stuff. Sorry. That is one thing that we know for sure. The last person to see Sebastian alive was Katie. Does that automatically mean that she did something? Maybe. But it also means that she could have very well been on the phone with her husband for 3 hours, fell asleep, woke up, and Sebastian was gone. That's still very real. That is still a very real possibility. So we have to sit on the fence. And I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's super uncomfortable, because it's really easy to hear all these stories and hear all this information about Sebastian and his upbringing, the information, these phone calls that have been coming out from neighbors and all that stuff about his, overhearing things and seeing activity, the dynamics between Sebastian and Chris, which, are alleged, right? But at the end of the day, it still does not mean that they are guilty. Court of public opinion, I know everybody's side-eyeing, even myself. Y'all know that. But I still have to lean on the side of where are the facts? What shows proof positive that they did something? Without a shadow of a doubt. Innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. We have no kid. We have no remains, God forbid. We don't have any of that stuff. Right? If we did have those things, then we'd be able to lean on something harder. If we had evidence, let's not forget that too. If we had hard evidence showing Katie Proudfoot getting in a car with Sebastian and pulling out of the driveway around the time that he went missing, then we'd have a little bit more information. Then we'd have something to lean on. If we saw her trying to drag a rolled up carpet or a trash bag or something of that sort, you see what I'm saying? If we had more information and more proof, yes, it'd be a lot easier for us to just go bang. Oh, she did that, but we don't. We don't have anything like that. So you have to err on the side of, hey, innocent till proven guilty. We don't have everything yet. I know that's hard to do, right? Because we all want a villain, we all want a hero, and all that. Now, I do believe that Seth is innocent, and he is just a tragic, innocent bystander throughout this whole thing. The facts are, and still remain, that Katie Proudfoot was the last person to see her son alive. That's the only thing that we have. Even Chris Proudfoot, doesn't matter how his activity out here, how he's been conducting interviews, how he's been doing all that stuff, whatever. Okay? He wasn't there. Apparently allegedly as well, his alibi checks out too. Now I understand. All of us are conspirizing, coming up with our theories and all that, which of course, when we don't have facts, our mind wanders. Our minds race like crazy. But we have to remember some of these facts. He was in Memphis at a job, basically. 3 hours and 37 minutes or something like that, to be exact. Door to door, as he said in the past. He was nowhere near the house in the time that she disappeared, according to the facts that have been given out by law enforcement and by the Proudfoots themselves. And yeah, it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, the one thing that we do know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, is Katie Proudfoot was the last person to see Sebastian alive. Now, you could take that and stretch that out into whatever you want. You could say Chris Proudfoot is trying to cover for her. You can say, something sinister happened with, between Seth and all them. Hey, we could sit there and say all that, right? But where's the facts to back those claims up? Just saying. Regardless if you're Team Proudfoot, Team Rogers, or Team Seth Rogers, or just Team trying to find Sebastian, where are the facts in which your theories lie, right? We all have a hunch. We all have a hunch. But now we need the facts. Now we need some smoking gun evidence going, oh, damn, we got ring cam footage of Chris pulling up at 2:00 in the morning that night. You know what I'm saying? We need those moments, right? And we don't have those things yet. Let's continue.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace.
Over 2 months into the search for Sebastian Rogers, a hope for a lead comes out of the town of Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Could a pair of pants found about 12 miles north of Nashville be related to Sebastian Rogers? It hasn't been disclosed where the pants were found.
In the last hour's mysterious update in the search for a missing autistic boy, Sebastian Rogers, after a woman shares a photo of a boy that is uncannily similar to Sebastian all the way up in the Smoky Mountains. This as a pair of pants, much like a pair of glasses, are taking center stage. Straight out to Lauren Collin joining us, investigative journalist, host of The Outlier. Lauren, thank you for being with us. Lauren, tell me about the pants.
Yes, so May 2nd, these pants were found by a volunteer that was searching, and they were sweatsuit style black, allegedly what Sebastian was last seen in. And authorities confirmed that they are unrelated, but they still said they've received, as of April, over 300 tips, and they are investigating all of them.
Okay, I want to get...
Hold on real quick. Somebody just pointed this out. And the only thing I'm going to say, because this is instantly what I thought in my head too. So I got to pull this up real quick. Okay. Because they're talking about the pants, and we already know the pants are not his pants. Okay. Like I said, Nancy Grace is a little bit behind, but it's not a bad thing. It's just what she was covering during that time. I don't know why my camera is tripping. Hopefully that'll fix it. But as I was saying, somebody said this, and this instantly was what I thought in my head too. When I first heard the interview, I said, wait a second. Okay. Such accurate measurements he's talking about the door to door. He's like 3 hours and 37 minutes door to door from the job, from the job site to the house, or from the house to the job site. Okay. He said, it's such accurate measurements by CP down to the second, door to door. That's impressive. Now, let me say something really quick. And there's a big storm coming, so I'm going to have to be wrapping up here very, very soon. But let me just say this really quick. All right. Sure, this is hella accurate. Okay. But what are the possibilities of him actually driving this so much that he knows the hours? He knows it down to a minute. He knows it down to a second, because he's constantly going from there to the job, from the job site to home every weekend or something like that. If he's driving that much, there's a good possibility that he would know this like the back of his hand. Yeah, I know for a fact I'm going to drive a couple miles and I'm going to see the QT, right? I know that this McDonald's is right here, which marks the hour and 45-minute part of the drive. I know I'm halfway when I see the big Shell sign on the side of the road. You see what I'm saying? If he's done it a lot, he may know the time down to the second on a good day without traffic. It is possible. But I also go, that's interesting too, though, VA. Okay? That's still very interesting information. Bro, down to a second, and you're saying this in an interview? Yeah, it looks sus. Hell yeah, it looks sus. But if he's somebody who's all about straight and narrow, very rigid with his stuff, he may know that stuff like it was the back of his hand. Okay? Just something to think about. But I understand what you're saying. Okay? So yeah, guys. Yeah. See, another good point. Granny, good point. If you drive that a lot, okay, that's the only thing I'm going to have to point out here. If you drive a specific route a lot, you're going to know it like the back of your hand, right? There's been plenty of times when I've, traveled for a job or a gig or something of that sort, and I have to go and do it a lot. Yeah, eventually you go, okay, it takes me about 2 hours to get there. I know that by the time I get to this particular place, I'm halfway, so give or take. That's where I can go re-up on gas. I can go and get some food, some snacks, and then there's another hour or so drive till I get to my final destination. And then it's vice versa back. I go this way, I go to that particular gas station, I re-up, I get my snacks, I get back in the car, and I drive my ass back to my original place in which I left from a few days before. You see what I'm saying? It's those things where you some of you guys have vacation homes, or you guys go on particular staycations in areas that may be just a short drive away. It's going to be like, okay, it's going to be about this many hours because I've been driving this same route for 10 years. Since I was a baby, I've been riding this route. I know it like the back of my hand, right? So there is a possibility of him saying that, and just knowing that information because he's driving it so damn much. It is interesting that he said it in the interview, but that doesn't automatically mean any type of guilt. Just saying, we got to keep all the options out here open until we find out more stuff. And, that's the other thing too. Google Maps, of course. But if you are driving it that often, eventually you don't need to use Google Maps. You already know exactly where you're going. You take the I-40 to the 64 to the this and this, the I-95, and then it's a straight shot to my exit. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. You know what I mean? Retired EMT. You're right. You're going to know the places, but you can't control traffic or other things. But like I said, on a good day when there's no traffic, that may be 3 hours and 37 minutes on the dot every time, like clockwork. If he knows he drives this certain amount of speed every single time, whether he's towing an RV behind the RV mobile home, or that RV behind him or not, you put all those things into consideration. He may not know. Or he may know, like, okay, I'm driving this speed at this entire time. There's no traffic. There's no bumper to bumper, whatever. You see what I'm saying? So there's a possibility. You know what I mean? But like I said, that those are just possibilities, But I do appreciate what VA just said. This: I've driven that Memphis to Nashville corridor on I-40 extensively. I can tell you not one day is the same. Damn. Okay. Well, maybe. Okay. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I've never driven that route. But like I said, all I'm saying is, hey, there's a possibility that he may know it because he's done it a million times. And also, like you said, it's never been the same. Not one trip has ever been the same. But it also, maybe he's driving around the same time all the time. Maybe he's driving and when the sun's about to come up and the roads are absolutely empty, right? Or he's driving overnight, whatever it may be, right? He knows it because he drives it. That's a possibility. Or, if we go on the other side of the fence, he could literally be knowing that because he just drove it to help make Sebastian disappear. That's the other theory too, right? Everything's still on the table, y'all. Okay? Nobody's innocent. Nobody's guilty. Everything's still on the table. All right? So, like I said, sitting on the fence is very uncomfortable. It is, but it's unfortunately what we have to do right now until we get more facts. Melly, thank you for being a real one. Pascal, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. S Dubs, thank you. I'd like to find out how. I already said all this stuff. Did I? Yes, I already did this one, and I agree. Misty, there we go. How is Sebastian caught on camera taking out trash and going back in the house, but never coming back out? That's what I'd like to know as well. Katie holds the key, period. I can definitely agree with you on the last part, for sure. She is the key. Okay? She got the keys, all right? DJ Khaled, she got the keys to all of this, to this case. Okay? Either she knows everything or she really was passed out, sleep, and has no idea what was going on. But at the end of the day, she was in that house. Sebastian was with her. They had a big day. They bowled. They went to eat popcorn, all that stuff. They came back home. He got ready for bed. She heard a thud. She said, "Hey, bub, go to bed." He went to sleep. Allegedly, she was on the phone with husband for hours. Fell asleep. Woke up. Him gone. She's the last person to see him. She holds the key. Misty, Pascal has the. I think you're saying construction workers. Okay. Contomatruction. That's a new one for me. Contomatruction workers and everyone in the area of Sebastian's home been located and vetted. I don't know for sure myself. All I know is that there have been people that have been interviewed. There have been people that have been vetted. Are they neighbors and coworkers of Chris Proudfoot? I don't know. I personally do not know the investigation. Okay. So hopefully they have been vetted. I hope that they have. Okay. But let's continue on with this.
Back to the pants. Did you say they were black sweatpants?
Black and sweatsuit style.
Sweatsuit style color black?
Yes.
Okay. Where were they found, Lauren Conlon?
So it has not been disclosed exactly where, but Goodlettsville, it's 12 miles from Nashville. It's part of Sumner County and Davidson County, Tennessee, depending which side you're on. So it's kind of nearby Sebastian's home.
Back to Seth Rogers. This is Sebastian's father.
You hear that? You hear that? Now I feel like I need to curl up with a book and eat an apple for 5 hours. The never-ending story. Anybody remember that movie? Okay. Because he like sat in a room reading a big ass book called Never Ending Story, and he just kept eating the apple for like an hour and a half. The whole movie he ate the apple. Y'all don't remember that? He ate the whole apple for an hour and a half. That mug would have been done in 10 minutes. But hell yeah, did that movie make reading a lot of fun? Made reading look really cool. Okay, Atreyu. And I'm not sitting here out here loving horses, but that horse, I think that's the reason why I'm not like, oh, horses, I love them. Maybe because I'm so traumatized from seeing Atreyu go, you know what I mean? That thing with the black mud and everything. Man, come on. Left Turn, I know, but at the same time. Rewatch the Never Ending Story. It's like he was eating that apple for years. Okay. Granny had a good point here, though, too. Okay. Maybe there is footage and the police aren't releasing it yet. Yes, I agree with that. All right. We witnessed that in the Riley Strain case. Absolutely. There is so much more footage that the family hasn't even fully seen yet. Okay. That Chris Dingman even talked about. The fathers, okay, the stepdad and the biological dad also talked about that when we're talking about the Riley Strain case. That was actual proof positive. They were like, hey, there's footage from the bars, etc., that we have not seen. Law enforcement is holding on to it, and they have not given it to us. I'm thinking that law enforcement may have a bunch of stuff, but I will say this, though, okay? Good point. Good comment. But let me say this. If they had something that was smoking gun, then this would be a criminal investigation. If they had something that was hard, like in their face, like there's no question whatsoever that there is foul play, then they would say that there is foul play in this case. They wouldn't sit on the fence going, well, maybe it's foul play, but maybe it's not. We can't confirm nor deny it's foul play. They would say, did this be foul play? Just saying. So if they have, I'm sure they got plenty of footage, plenty, but I'm sure it doesn't say anything about foul play. Because then why wouldn't they be looked at? Why wouldn't there be a criminal investigation right now? Why wouldn't they say to the public, this is foul play? It's because I don't think that they have all the footage. Okay. Or maybe they have all the footage, but how he disappeared, how he vanished was done in some Houdini voodoo type thing. I don't know, man, because it's crazy to think that it's been 70 something days There's plenty of ring cameras. There's plenty of security cams. There's plenty of street cams, all that stuff. And they have not seen one stitch, not one frame of Sebastian. Something ain't right here. For sure, something ain't right here. Obviously, something ain't right here. But I don't know if the police have footage showing that something ain't right here. You see what I'm saying? But that's a good comment, though, because you know for a fact they got plenty. They got hours of content, hours of video that none of us have seen. My question is, though, have the Proudfoots and Seth Rogers, have they seen all of the footage? Every single last frame? That's the question I have. Piggybacking off of that comment for sure. Good point, though. April, thank you so much. Pascal, he knows the route to where he going, but don't remember the year of his truck. That's a good point, too. That's a good point, too. It's a good point. You know, I don't know. That's a good point. But at the same time, some people slip up sometimes. You know, they'll be like, oh, that ride is a 2015. And it's like, oh, no. I'm sorry. I meant a 2017. Damn. It happens. But at the same time, when everything is crucial, every finite moment, every little nuance, every little idiosyncratic thing, any hiccup, every breath, right? Any eye twitch, people are going to dissect the hell out of it for sure, especially with a case like this. Gypsy, thank you so much. Pascal, I appreciate the 50-50 commentary. More in order to see all points. Yes. I'm a mom that lost a son. I was the last to see him. And I assure you, if she's innocent, that woman wants to, do the unthinkable to herself, not knowing you know what? You ain't wrong. And here's the thing, though. I know I said earlier, I was like, so we haven't heard from Katie in a while. We allegedly are hearing Chris on these phone calls, and we are definitely seeing Seth out here talking, right? But we're not hearing anything from Katie. Now, here's the thing. Somebody said it earlier. People deal with grief and tragedy like this in many, many different ways. And that's absolutely 110% true. I agree with that 110%. And she could very well be just wallowing in depression. She could literally be soaked into this darkness so badly that she just doesn't even know how to get out. We don't know. We're not in those rooms. We're not behind those closed doors, seeing her going through whatever she's going through. So, true. But I would hope that, in fact, if she's watching, if she's listening to the show, I would hope that she would pick herself up and help. Sometimes getting active, sometimes getting proactive is better than being inactive. Your son's out there somewhere. And if you don't know where he is and have no knowledge of that and have no part in that, then I highly recommend and urge her to get up and get out and get active and help. That's what I would say. Okay. But, like I said, I'm trying my best to not side eye, right? But I do note that she is the last person to see him alive. I feel like it's like going back to square one. What were you doing? Because let's be real. She could be innocent. Yeah, she could. I know. Whoa, Pascal, what? She could. She could very well be innocent. So then I would sit there and urge her to retrace her night. What actually happened? Do you remember hearing anything? You know what I mean? What was the phone call with Chris like? Were you falling asleep on the phone with him? You know what I mean? And it's not like no, you hang up. No, you hang up, silly. No, maybe I'm reading a book. She says she was studying. She was on the phone with him for 3 hours. Was she falling asleep? Was she drifting off into sleep? Other things I would ask Chris too. He was on the phone with her. Did he hear something in the background? Did something odd happen audibly that he heard that he can't really put his finger on, but maybe he heard something too? You see what I'm saying? I would be like, let's go back to the basics. Go back to ground zero. Go back to day one and retrace the tracks of everything. Like I said, I mean, I know easier said than done, but if she is in that place, I'd be saying, hey, get up, dust yourself off, and it's now time to get active, right? Misty, thank you so much. The issue is law enforcement doesn't have concrete evidence. That's very true. To get a judge to sign off warrants. Yeah, they need evidence. Absolutely. Question is that why Chris stated this case would be a case to be studied for years to come. Now, I've never heard him say that personally, but like I said, if he's done this on many, many podcasts or phone calls, I have not heard every single stitch of every interview or podcast he has done. So if he has stated that, that's very interesting. That would make me side-eye this situation that would make me side-eye his statement, because it makes it sound like this is going to be a case like a Summer Wells, right? That will always just live on in just questionable infamy of a case that never gets solved. I hope that's not the case. But then if that is true, that being said, like I said, I'm just reading the statement here. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying that I heard it. But if he did say this is one of the reasons why people are side-eyeing. You see what I'm saying? That don't help him. If he said that don't help him. Okay? Real talk, that don't. Let's continue on.
You can find him online at hashtag Sebastian Strong. There is a GoFundMe to support him in his efforts. He's had to hire a private investigator, and he goes hours and hours and hours, day after day after day, searching for his son. He most recently returned from that rest stop we showed you where there was an alleged sighting of Sebastian. That's GoFundMe, Finding Sebastian Rogers Family Support. Seth, what, if anything, have you been told about that pair of black sweatpants?
That they are not related to my son.
Do you know where they were found?
I know that they were found at a particular park.
A park.
Mm-hmm.
A park. Do you know if they were the right size?
You know what sucks is that it's going to be like this until he's found. There's going to be a pair of glasses. There's going to be a pair of shoes. Even though he was barefoot, but you know what I mean? There's going to be a leg found in a lake, right? And then everyone's going to be like, is that Sebastian? And you never know. It may be that case at some point, but I'm just saying, a pair of pants. And this pair of pants was found. And of course, they're saying this is not Sebastian's. But you know for a fact, any item of clothing that closely resembles what he was allegedly wearing when he was last seen is going to be in question. If it's a black pair of athletic pants of some sort, like Adidas pants type stuff, everyone in the mom is going to be holding their breath going, because we care, right? We all care. Cinnabee just said, Pascal, he did say that. Oh, he said that. Somebody skinny said, oh, he said it. So he did say it. I mean, I'm relying on what you guys say, all right? Because I have not heard that, okay? But if he did say that, that is weird. I will say that, okay? But again, let me say this too. Does that mean him guilty? I know in the court of public opinion, we all side-eyeing at that moment. But that does not mean he said, I done did it and Sebastian's over here. You know what I mean? It's weird for him to say that. Very weird. I'd love to hear that at some point. I want to hear that with my own ears, right? But at the same time, does not mean that he's guilty in the court of law. It doesn't. Just remember that, guys. I know that sucks, but that's the truth.
No.
Who told you the information about the pants?
I received a text message from the
law enforcement
detective over the case. Yeah.
Okay, question. Do you know what condition they were in, or if any DNA analysis was done for touch DNA, hair, fiber, anything that relate back to Sebastian? How did they suddenly decide, oh yeah, these aren't his?
Good question.
They said that the size was wrong.
The size was wrong.
Just the size.
Wasn't he last seen wearing black sweatpants, as we were told by the Proudfoots?
Correct.
Seth, when you learned that sweatpants had been found but were ruled out, according to law enforcement, how did that make you feel? What did that do to your will to keep searching?
And they said that those didn't belong to him. It just reinforced that North Carolina, my son was there.
Sebastian Rogers goes missing. Mother Katie Proudfoot leaves the family home to be with her husband in their travel trailer while he goes back to work around the Memphis area.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to roll that back in a second, but I want to pull this up too. Now, Raising Grace, I appreciate you coming out and putting this up. He did say that, but it was in reference to the huge show of love and support from public for Sebastian. Now, I haven't heard this piece, but I'm assuming it was something along the lines of like, "Hey, everybody, we really, I really do appreciate the support. This could be one of the biggest cases ever," type thing, or you guys could be witnessing one of the biggest cases ever, kind of thing. He may have just said it in passing, you know what I mean? Not meaning anything deep. But then again, maybe he was saying something deep. You know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate you clarifying this, Raising Grace. I do appreciate that because, instantly, because I haven't not heard it. And yes, things can be taken out of context terribly. And so, yeah, I'm still interested to hear the sound, like that piece, that little sound bite, or hear at least what leads up to that sound bite and what leads up and what follows that sound bite, just to get the full context of the statement. But yeah, he could have been just saying, "Hey, I appreciate it. This is one of the biggest cases. This is going to be one of those biggest cases," because it's clearly a big ass case. Let's keep it real. I mean, it's been wild, y'all, and we can all agree on that. True. Thank you so much. KP supposedly was on the phone with CP for 3 hours. Yep, she was, allegedly. A mom who didn't have anything to do with her child being missing would have been outside looking for her son for 3 hours instead, or at the same time. Now, from what we understand, she was on the phone for 3 hours and he was in the bedroom, I don't know, playing video games or trying to go to sleep. Okay. So there wouldn't be any reason for her to go out there because she would not have any inkling that, or any type of clue that he had disappeared during the 3 hours that she was on the phone with him. Okay. That she was supposedly on the phone with Chris Proudfoot. But I do see what you're saying, but chronologically, that's during the time that she was on the phone with him and she heard the thud. And then she yelled up to him, basically saying, "Hey, go to bed, sweetie. You got school in the morning." And then she continued talking with him, and then she fell asleep, and then she woke up and he was gone. And then that's when she started doing her search. That's when she was frantically going, calling husband again and going crazy, understandably going crazy, trying to find Sebastian. That's at least the timeline that they both have given us, right? But she wouldn't be out there for 3 hours trying to find him if he wasn't gone yet. While she was on the phone with Chris Proudfoot for 3 hours that night. Does that make sense? The only moment that I'm like that I have a little bit of pushback with her timeline is the part where there was the thud. And I know everybody has talked about this ad nauseum, but you're telling me that you hear a thud and you don't get up and walk over. You have a high functioning autistic 15-year-old young man, and you hear a thud. He's active, he's Sebastian, and you hear a thud, but you don't go and check up on that thud. That just seems a little bit weird to me. And even outside of that, if I had a 13-year-old son, or 15-year-old son, regardless, high functioning, autistic or not autistic, doesn't matter. If I heard a thud, either I'm going up to that door, to that bedroom, and opening that door to make sure he all right, or I'm having him call back at me. You know what I mean? "Hey, Sebastian, you good? I heard a thud. You all right?" "Yeah, Dad, I'm all right." "All right, get your ass to sleep. You got school in the morning, all right?" And I'd go back to sleep, right? Or I'd be knocking on the door. "Hey, Sebastian, you all right? I just heard a thud. What happened here? What you doing? Are you playing video games? You know what I mean? What are you doing? You jumping off the bed?" Gypsy Trails has said he did answer her. Oh, interesting. Okay. Thank you for that. You go over this case a million times, some pieces of information slips away, but that's interesting if he did call back. Okay. But I'm just saying, instantly I'm knocking on the door. I'm opening that door and being like, what's up, man? What you doing, bruh? Sebastian, you all right? You good? What's really going on in here, man? I heard a thud. What's up? You got school in the morning. It's such and such time. What the hell? You sure you're all right? Okay. I love you. That's it. Still alive, still breathing, doesn't have a bump on his head or anything crazy like that. Put his butt back in the bed, make sure he's in that bed, take all the electronics away from him and leave. And then wake him up a couple hours later to take his butt to school, right? But she didn't do that. She yelled out to him. And then she continued with her conversation with Chris and then went to sleep and then woke up. It's interesting. Nonetheless, it's just interesting. Okay. So, and I will say that too. That's what she said, right? That's what she says. Thank you so much, Jules. Okay. No, that's just what she said. And she didn't say it at first. Interesting. Because I was going to say in the first initial interview, I don't remember her saying him calling back, right? I just remember her saying, hey, bub, go to sleep. Right. But then she didn't say that at first. Right. Just like she didn't say she heard a thud at first either. Yeah. The thud was added later too. That was true. That is true. In fact, remember, even when the reporter in the first initial interview was asking her, can you give us a breakdown of his Sunday, your Sunday that you had with him before he disappeared? The first initial interview, she did not answer that. She couldn't even answer that, which was weird. And then a couple of interviews later, that's when, you see what I'm saying? That's when more added information started getting dropped. So that is true. Same thing with Chris Proudfoot too. Sorry. But he said some things and then he retracted those things, or he said things over here, but then he changed the story over here. We heard it a lot of inconsistencies for sure. And we know that. We already know that stuff for sure already.
While Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, and an army of volunteers continue to look for Sebastian, Katie Proudfoot says she is concerned about leaving, but defends the decision to leave by saying her son could be anywhere and they are looking everywhere. Katie Proudfoot doesn't know when she will return to her home.
Katie Proudfoot has reportedly not gone back to work. We reached out to the Proudfoots asking if they would share their current location. The Proudfoots saying for safety reasons, they are keeping their location private.
Now, listen. They're not home. They're nowhere to be found, allegedly. They're in an RV somewhere. They're not at that house. And there's certain parts of me that understand the reason why they're not at the house. Okay. But then there's other parts of me that are like, but Sebastian could come home. And I know, maybe it's becoming that theory, or that hope is getting thinner and thinner over time, because it's been well over 70 some odd days already. But at the same time, it's like you're leaving the place in which he would come back home to. And sure, there's neighbors. I'm sure there's people down the street that he can go to if he actually stumbles home, right? He actually winds up showing up home. But at the same time, your parents in that house, your parents aren't even in that house. That's a little weird. Now I get it, that, them wanting to leave because they feel like they're getting threatened and all that stuff too. You got to put those things into consideration. Them getting these threats, and those threats are not nice. Okay. But also you have other people getting threats as well. Seth Rogers is getting threats too. He's still out here looking. So like I said, it's just interesting, to say the least. Okay. And like I said, I'm not trying to say or allude to anything. Okay. But like I said, it's just interesting that they decide to pack up and move out. It says a lot. In my personal opinion, it does say a lot, you know? And what's sad is optically, it looks bad. It doesn't look great. Optically. But we already know my thoughts. I'm like, yo, show up, pull up. Okay. You about to see me with the heater. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm nice with it. Let's go. All right. You want to threaten me when I'm trying to find my son or my stepson or whatever? Go ahead. Go ahead. You know, but that's just me though. I'm not hopping into an RV and driving off. That's just me. And yeah, I agree. Wanda Young, you know, actions speak way louder than words in situations like this for sure. It makes people side eye you. Okay. We're not fabricating these things. These things are being done in real time. Okay. It's being done in real time, guys.
Joining us, an all-star panel. Tony Mathis is joining us along with Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers. Tony Mathis, what do you make of the Proudfoots leaving the area and not taking part in any searches?
Nancy, we really don't want to get into commenting about the Proudfoots at this time, but I will tell you that I spoke to Chris and Katie early on, and I do know that Katie was getting a lot of threats, so it was deemed to be better for her safety to go with Chris and go back to where he was working. So outside of that, I don't really want to get into comment about why they did what they did.
Okay, see? Look, he's like, and one thing real quick, I know this is a little bit of a left turn. It's not a left turn, but I am kind of curious as well, Nicole. I want to hear why search teams backed out as well. Like, what's the real reason, right? But you heard Tony right there. He's like, yo, we're not here for the nonsense. We're not here for the salaciousness. But we will say that we do know that, you know, they're not at the house. They're somewhere else. I guess they're trying to be closer to work. And that's it. That's as far as we're going to go as far as talking about that. Because they're, like I said, they're not trying to muddy up the water. They're not trying to throw mud or anything of that sort. So they're like, yo, we ain't doing that. We are moving on. We are trying to transcend this investigation into something real, you know, instead of messy. Hey, you know, that's what he's there for, to clean it up, I guess, right? Let's continue.
Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad. What do you make of the Proudfoots leaving the area and not taking part of any searches that we know of for Sebastian?
People have to live with their decisions that they make.
It's my understanding.
That was his answer. Wow. People have to live with the decisions that they make. Damn. Okay. He said that.
That you are refusing to comment on the Proudfoots.
Not speaking about them.
Understood.
Boom.
And why?
I don't have anything to say about their actions. I can speak for myself.
Tony?
We have given Chris and Katie our word, we meaning Seth and I, that we're going to keep the interviews focused on Sebastian. We're doing everything we can do to clean up a lot of the mess that's been created the last 2 months, to try to refocus on simply finding Sebastian. So we're simply trying to do our part there, Nancy.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly?
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there. Now, let me tell you something. All right. This is from before. Remember that the Proudfoots were on, they interviewed and all that stuff, right? She asked him about doing a poly because we found out that Katie actually had the polygraph and he never did a polygraph. Remember that? So then she says, hey, would you be down to do a polygraph? He said, name the place and time. Still has not happened. So she pulled this up again for a reason. And you know for a fact, I mean, let's be real. We know, I'm getting an inkling that Nancy Grace is feeling some type of way about one side of the case, right? That's the reason why she's bringing this up, right? But let's take a listen.
And you're headed back to Memphis right now. Are you in your RV right now?
I am in my RV. We are not disclosing our current location just because of safety reasons, due to the YouTubers, the Facebookers out there that have sent some very heinous, threatening information and things of that nature, threatening to be outside of our house, all kinds of nasty things. So,
Lauren Conlon, question, to your knowledge, have the Proudfoots taken a poly, and are they searching for Sebastian?
Well, Katie Proudfoot announced pretty early on that she did take a polygraph and she passed. As far as Chris goes, I cannot to that. There's a lot of misinformation whether he took one or not, and if he did take one, if he passed or not. And as far as them searching for Sebastian, they claim that they are working with law enforcement. So whatever that means, that's on them.
To Seth Rogers joining us, Sebastian's dad. Seth, how do you keep going with all of the hate, which I don't understand where that's coming from? How do you even put one foot in front of the other looking for your son?
He's my son. They're not going to stop me from looking for him. The world's full of hate. I choose to ignore it and look for the good. Finding my son is the good.
If you have information or think you have information regarding the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND, 1-800-824-3463. We stop and remember American hero Cheryl.
Okay. And then that's, of course, the full episode that we just listened to. Okay. Now, I appreciate Nancy Grace bringing Seth back on to clarify about the polygraph and all that. And from what we understand, and from what I gathered here at least, all right, is that the polygraph was done, but they did it twice. And I guess the first time they did it, Seth fell asleep. And so they're like, well, this is, we can't use this. And then they agreed to get back together and do another one. Okay. Now, I know some people are going to try to take that and try to twist that and spin it into something else. I see it at face value. I don't think it's a thing of like, oh, he failed the first time, so we want him to look good because we're team Seth or something like that. No, I don't think that at all. I literally think that it was a long day or it was a long time. He was on meds. He's got this pain. He fell asleep and they said, nope, we got to do this again. Let's do this when you're well rested and you're ready to do this. Okay. And I mean, let's be real. I mean, if you got somebody at that time working nonstop out there, going on podcasts late at night, doing late night phone calls and all that stuff. I mean, again, I know that there's going to be people out here that are going to side eye that piece of information. I honestly take it at face value personally. Okay. Y'all are all entitled to your opinion on the doing the polygraph twice. That's on you, but I will say that he did it. He passed. And that's it. Okay. And from what we know, Chris Proudfoot has not done a polygraph, at least conducted by Nancy Grace's team. I think that's important for us to emphasize. If there were somebody else, if it was done by TBI or somebody else, we have not heard anything. I have not heard confirmation of that personally. I don't think anybody's heard confirmation of a poly. And in fact, if he decides to hop back on to these phone calls, either as to play around or to actually conversate with somebody, hopefully he can confirm that with the people that are listening, with that podcaster or with that host, and let them know, yeah, I took it, or no, I haven't done anything, right? But like I said, but I will say, will it give us clues? The poly. I don't know. I don't think so. Unless he says something, if he was to do a poly, if he was to say something and that it just went off and it was like, oh, he's just totally lying. He failed this thing. Then yeah, it could give us something. Could give us something. But like I said, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Right. I'm very interested to see what would happen. But let me see. Yeah, Jill just said he was on meds. He was exhausted from searching. Absolutely could fall asleep. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I do think that it's possible. You got stress. You're not sleeping. You're doing interviews nonstop during that time. Your boots on the ground. You're printing out flyers. You're driving this, that, and the other. You're doing all these different things and also not sleeping at all because of wanting to know where your son is. I mean, how can you properly sleep when you don't know where your son is? I'd be messed up too. Let me see. I'm trying to see because I know some people, there's opposing views and then there's other views as well. There's, like that. I want to, try to make this an even conversation, right? Hear both sides of the fence. Kat said she may have had a nervous breakdown. Now she may feel like if she shows her face, she will be verbally attacked. Face it, searching now, she may fear finding him unalive. You know what? You are absolutely right. And yes, that makes sense that there could have been a whole nervous breakdown. And then now that she's like, hasn't been anywhere around, and then for her to show her face, yes, there's a good possibility that she'd have some snarkiness in response to people. But at the same time, I feel like if she was coming out with her, with her best foot forward and all that, I think people would, and she showing that she's putting in effort, I think that people would change their thoughts, change their minds, and just embrace and say, come on in, let's find him. Forget all the old stuff. We're here to find Sebastian. So come on, let's join hands. Let's join forces and find Sebastian. Sure, everyone's going to have their opinions. Everyone's got an opinion. But there hasn't even been an attempt from what I've heard. I'd love to see the attempt at least, because I don't think people are just going to be, I don't think people are going to just be going in their face. I just don't see that. But I think that if you wait longer, and if they do more things optically that are very messed up or questionable, yeah, I could see more people getting in their face at some point. But I don't know. There's got to be a little bit of effort. That's what I think. But I get it. It's the fear of all that stuff. And it's kind of like some people might say too little, too late. But I say this is her son. And I wouldn't give a damn personally, but I'm different than her, right? I'm not her. I'm not going through what she went through or what she's going through right now, right? So, shoot. Any bit of energy expended on the search for her son, I think people would applaud it. I think people would be very happy with it. Not hiding away in an RV with her husband, in some undisclosed location. Okay. And, you also got to remember, now that she's not working, if that is 110% true, this is all the more reason for her to get out there, boots on the ground, and start helping out. Seth eventually has to go to work. Seth eventually has to do his job, or he loses his job. He's not in a dual earning household where he could just maybe step back and his spouse or his partner could take over paying the bills and, just holding it down for him. Right. And he could resign from the job or whatever. It's not the case for Seth. Not at all. So he's got to go back to work at some point. Hence the reason why he's getting help from other places right now, because he can't do it all himself now. But Katie got Chris. It was a dual earning household, but apparently she's not working right now. This could be an opportunity for her to step forward and help in the case. Somebody's got to get in there and do some of the heavy lifting. That's the thing. Everyone thinks that, because of the new guy, right, coming in and being a part of this, and that Tony's coming in and talking and all that, people are forgetting that it's a lot of heavy lifting going on, and that while he is out working and doing what he has to do to make a living, you have people out here that are going to help keep pushing Sebastian's name out here until he is hopefully found very, very soon. I've said this the other show. He can't be Clark Kent and Superman in the same place at the same time. It is impossible. That's why you bring other people on. That's why you build a team so that you can have more. Okay? That's why you do this, right? But that's just what it is, right? And again, I guess it's the thing. Would everybody be embracing Katie if she was to get in front of the camera and start running things, taking over Seth's spot? Would that be better? That's the other thing too, because people will sit there and go, we want Seth's voice. Seth's voice never left. You just heard it on Nancy Grace's show. It's still there. He's still talking. He's still doing interviews. They're just not doing the mucky muck. They're just not getting dirty. They're taking the high road now, and they're focusing on the case. So his voice isn't gone. And everyone's like, his voice is gone. We need Seth's voice. Seth's voice is there, has not left. It hasn't. And it will continue to be there. But there will be, I'm assuming there's going to be other entities, stepping forward and helping out. All the way from the people who are helping with the search, to his PIs that he has working with him and all that stuff. He has a team. People making flyers, people, everybody. It's a whole team. He can't do it himself. He needs the team. But his voice isn't gone. He's still here. Okay? He's still here, y'all. He is still here. Okay? Mandy, I cried more than KP when my dogs went missing the other day. There's something wrong with her. Mother ain't mothering. Now, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't. The actions do speak louder than words optically out here in public. But I am kind of curious as to what she's doing right now. I am curious, but I get it. I see why people are side-eyeing. Everybody's side-eyeing like a mug. Okay. Trust and believe. I get it. Okay. Like I said, that's the thing. A little bit of effort. And I'm not, like I said, how she wants to conduct things is on her. But when they're out away from the house in an RV, hiding away, that's a bit odd. And so in my mind, I'm like, just a little bit, like just a tiny bit of effort, I think would go so far. Right. And I think some people would be like, okay, we're going to back up. Like, honestly, and I've said this before, I was really hopeful for that alliance. I was really hopeful that alliance was going to work, because I'm always erring on the side of positivity. I want everybody to be okay. I want to see the case be solved. That's what I give a damn about, right? And by them getting together, it stops the whole pointing of fingers and all that, and it helps them focus on finding their son. So when I heard about that alliance, part of me was like, okay. I mean, I was side-eyeing it too, because I'm like, okay, this could show something. It could unearth the truth about the dynamics in this whole threesome. That sounded weird, but you know what I'm saying. But at the same time, I was hopeful because I know one of the three was doing a lot of heavy lifting physically out there. And so in my mind, I was like, damn, if they get together, then he doesn't have all the weight on him. That relieves some of the stress. That's amazing. I want to see that. And then all of a sudden, nothing happened. I'm like, damn. I was really hopeful. Really, really hopeful. Eden Pats, profiler. Hello. Thank you so much. Parents refuse to move or change their home phone number for 40 years until their son's unaliver monster was caught and convicted. I don't know. ATN, I guess Etin or something like that. Pat, I don't know that story. No offense. Sorry. I don't know that case. But I've heard plenty of people. Okay. First off, thank you so much for the support, profiler. But good point. There's been plenty of families that have sat there and said, we left our daughter's room exactly how she left it. And it's been sitting like that for 15 years. We've seen that a million times. So it is weird when they go and they pack up their stuff and they leave, or, or their house possibly goes on to, get sold, or it gets put on the market to be sold. That's weird to me. Those actions are odd. Going into an RV and going into an undisclosed location is odd. I get the whole fear of threats coming your way, but I'm like, yo, come at me, bro. Try me. Shoot, try me. Okay. So I don't know. It's interesting though. Thank you so much for that reference. But yeah, people would stay in their homes and literally go, we ain't leaving until she comes home, because they just hold on to that little piece of hope. There are families that are still trying to look for their missing loved ones that have been missing way longer than Sebastian Rogers. And they're still in their home. They're still in the phone number hasn't changed. The bedroom hasn't changed, not one bit. But they're holding on to hope, hoping that he's, their loved one, their kid, their daughter, whatever, is going to waltz right back home. It's a real thing. It is very much a real thing. Okay. Let's see. Tawny, thank you so much. Sticks and stones may hurt, but words/threats, no way. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that the threats are not cool. They're not. And yes, you need to be very careful and keep your head on a swivel without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. You got to make sure you're safe. For sure. But at the same time, when you're in this kind of situation, for a fact there's a team of people. If you have a good team around you, they will protect you as well. And they'll keep their heads on a swivel as well. No one, like these threats that are out here, I personally do believe that, people are angry because they don't know everything, or they don't fully understand the situation or the case. Yes, there's people that turn things into a circus for the sake of turning it into a circus. We've seen this many times, even outside the Laundrie's house, even outside of Quentin Simon's mother, if you want to call her mother, her house as well. We've seen these displays that have just gone haywire and gone like off the rails, right? But for the most part, thank God, no real harm was ever done to anybody. And hopefully that stays the exact same elsewhere, right? In this particular case. But like I said, I just hate that they left. I hate that they left because it doesn't help their cause. It just doesn't. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading you guys' comments real quick. I'm trying to sprinkle in comments and super chats, you know what I mean? Trying to keep it somewhat even for the most part. Brenda, thank you so much on Facebook for the comment. If Sebastian ran away, he could be hiding as not to be found. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's been gone for 70 some odd days. If he ran away and he is out there hiding, he is definitely he hiding good. Okay, he hiding real good. But that's why I keep wondering if they've really dove into all of his electronics. Who did he talk to? Was he trying to was he this? I know this sounds weird, but was he interested in girls? Was he, at that time, was he trying to talk to girls on the phone? And I know that sounds weird, but what I mean is, like, if he was able to have conversations with girls on the phone, like, trying to have a conversation, maybe there's someone that he was conversating with that helped him take off. Like I said, that option's still on the table. So if he's willing to try to step to girls and stuff, he's 15, for crying out loud. Hormones are just raging. What are the chances? I'm sure he was trying to talk to girls to a certain extent. So because the mom and all that, they were saying stuff about, like, him not really being on the phone like that. But what if he was on the phone like that? Who was he conversating with? Maybe there's friends that the Proudfoots didn't know anything about, that he was talking to on his phone via certain chat lines or chat apps and stuff like that. That they didn't even know he had in the first place. I'm just saying, think about that for a second, right? Now, this is just questions, speculation. I don't have the answers. Okay? But at the same time, I'm kind of curious about that. But remember, like one of the comments earlier, so I'm going to add on top of what I think it was Granny that said it. Police could have all kinds of videos, right? Police could have all kinds of videos, but they also could have all kinds of content. Video, photos, phone conversations, text messages, and whatnot that he may have had with other people. So, yeah, what if he just had enough and he said, I'm done, I'm out, and he planned this thing with a friend and he out here hiding good? I mean, I don't know. For me, I don't really think that's the case, but I can lean on hope that it is the case, because that means he's still alive, right? That means he's still alive. And so I'm with that. If that's the case, I'd rather him be alive, chilling in some friend's basement, eating ramen and playing Fortnite, than him out here in the woods, possibly perished, right? Now, here's the thing. Okay. I like this. Lee, I appreciate you saying this, okay? He says, come on, y'all. He's 15, but has the mentality of a 10-year-old. He isn't that smart to do that. Are we sure about that, though? Let me just say this really quick. Yes, allegedly he's 15, okay, with the mentality of a 10-year-old. But I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of smart 10-year-olds, real street savvy 10-year-olds. Okay. So you got a good point. We heard that from Seth himself. 15 with the mentality of a 10-year-old. But some of these 10-year-olds are savvy, though. Oh my Lord. Some of these 10-year-olds know exactly what's going on about everything all the time. It's insane. Okay. But then add on top of that he's 15, he's going through some changes. He's hitting that puberty and all that stuff. For a fact, he's probably thinking about girls as well at this moment in time, at least, or at least it's the start of it. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So just because He's 15 with the mentality of a 10-year-old does not mean he ain't savvy here. Man, I know 2-year-olds that know how to use damn apps on phones. Yeah, sure, they can't type anything or anything like that, you know what I mean? But they can definitely go through things without a problem. And that's a 2-year-old. Have you met a 10-year-old? 10-year-olds are crazy savvy. Whoo! I'm like, how do you know about that, son? Oh my God. What are you saying? I'm just saying. Kids know things. Kids know things. And it's like, wow. So I don't know. You know, I appreciate the comment. But at the same time, he's still, by the way, let's not forget, high functioning as well. And high functioning can mean a lot too. Let's not forget. Okay. Graciela, hopefully I'm saying Graciela. Thank you so much for the comment on Facebook. Yeah, of course, Pascal. We want him alive and well. His family should follow Seth and just don't make it like they are. Sorry, don't make it like they are the ones missing, calling attention and scolding YouTubers. Prayers for Sebastian Rogers. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Yeah, I'm with that 100%. You know, I think everybody needs to tranquilo. Real talk. Okay. Normal just said, yeah, Pascal, I have a granddaughter that does that. Yep. Like I said, these kids are savvy as hell. Savvy. They know exactly what the hell's going on. Some of these kids already know about sex and all that stuff. And you're like, what? How do you know? What? How do you know about all that stuff? That's grown talk. What? Like I said, kids growing up so fast. I know that makes us sound old, but kids nowadays grow up so damn fast, you know, light years faster than we did when we were kids. You know what I mean? And so I look at this and I'm like, okay, he may have been conversating with people on his phone or on a gaming console. There is a possibility of that. So I'm hoping that law enforcement has their hands on that stuff too. Real talk. You know, I think that's important. Let's take a look at this. Grace, thank you so much. Was there any footage of him leaving the restaurant? Yes, there was. We talked about it in a past interview with Seth. He got a chance to see proof of life of Sebastian walking out of Texas Roadhouse. There is footage of Sebastian alive walking out of Texas Roadhouse, getting into the car with his mama and driving off. Now, that is the only proof of life that they have, allegedly. So him walking into that car, as soon as he got into that car, that's the last that we've ever seen of Sebastian. So anything could have happened on the trip from Texas Roadhouse back to the crib, and so on. So from the moment he shut the door and the car drove out of the shot of the security cam footage, anything could have happened from that moment till 6 a.m. in the morning, or around 6 a.m. in the morning, when mama walked into the bedroom to wake him up. So his disappearance, it's many hours. It's several hours. Okay. So you have to put that in consideration too. Serenity. Thank you so much, Serenity. They don't want to work with Seth or PR. Yeah, I mean, they don't want to work with anybody, if that's what you mean, the Proudfoots. It doesn't seem like they want to work with the Proudfoots don't seem to want to work with anyone thus far. But this is so far, right? Maybe there's a group of people, maybe there's an organization that they're willing to work with, but at the same time, we have yet to see them with any organization, boots on the ground, trying to find Sebastian. You see what I'm saying? Like you have Seth out here running, you know, or was running in these streets trying to find that. He's got teams of people with search teams and all that stuff. He's got all these members all a part of this thing, right? He's got people making flyers for him. He's got a whole mother-loving team. He's got an organization helping him. And then we look at the Proudfoots and we don't see anything. It's crickets. That's weird. Again, not trying to throw any shade. I'm just stating facts. Now, sure, I'm sure that they're conversating with law enforcement and all that, but what else are they doing to help find Sebastian? That's the question I still leave up to the Proudfoots, because I have yet to see that so far. All I'm seeing right now is prank phone calls and Katie not saying anything, while Seth is trying to clean up his act, trying to tighten up his organization with his team, and is trying to find Sebastian. That's a huge difference, in my personal opinion. I mean, and that's not a thing of being team any side. That's just standing outside and looking at both sides and seeing it optically. It's drastically different. It's drastically different. But I will say on the Proudfoot side, okay, Proudfoots have law enforcement. They have access to information from law enforcement. Seth does not. At least that's from what I'm seeing and from what we've heard in interviews. So that is one thing that the Proudfoots do have in their corner. They have law enforcement. In fact, if I'm correct, they got local PD and TBI. That's pretty big. That is pretty big. But are they out there with the people looking for them? Looking for Sebastian? I'm sorry. No. We have yet to see that part. Are they hanging up flyers? Maybe they have in the past, but I haven't heard anything about them putting up flyers recently. So that's all news to me. Like I said, not trying to throw shade. I'm just looking at it from a bird's eye view. And it would be nice if they can kind of merge everything together and work together as a team. That's what needs to happen more than anything. It really does. Because the messiness is not helping. It's just not. And you guys know that. Let me see. A couple comments here, y'all. Candace, thank you so much. My sis used to run away all the time. This does not appear as a runaway to me. Excuse me. My mom would take me out in a car during all hours of the night trying to look for her. Katie's non-actions speak volumes. Yeah. I mean, this actions speak louder than words for sure. Let's see. Kathy, this is a good point here. I only read half of it, but let's look into this. You have to ask why they have law enforcement on their side. They're doing what law enforcement is asking them to do, not what social media are asking for. You know what? This is a damn good point. Kathy, you have a very good point there. I feel that maybe that is what it is. Maybe Seth stepped on too many cops' toes. I don't know. Right? I mean, this is only speculation, right? Maybe that happened. I don't know. And maybe he made some of these cops feel some type of way. That's a possibility. But then at the same time, I will say this though, Kathy. If they became biased, that's not right. If they became, we're just only going to talk and deal with the Proudfoots and we're not going to give him any information, isn't that unethical? They're supposed to protect and serve all. This is his son. This is his biological son who he has, joined or shared custody over. He deserves to know what's going on at all times. Whether he's if he's a hothead or if he's just being a rebel out here, I don't know any of that stuff, right? All I know is that you got a father who wants to know exactly what happened to his son, and he's not getting the information that he rightfully deserves, I think that's wrong. And any parent, if there's any backlash or big reaction, okay, from that family or from that parent, I don't blame a parent getting a little angry if they feel that they're not getting the information that they rightfully deserve. Imagine being in his shoes for 5 seconds. It's your kid. You are divorced. Law enforcement is only talking to one side and they're not telling you a damn thing. But you got a kid, your son, your daughter, gone, and you don't know where they are. You do everything. Man, I feel like there would be no chill in you because you're thinking about, this is the person that I brought into the world. This is my seed. This is everything. I poured everything that is good in me into this child, and you're not telling me a damn thing. I think people would be losing their minds. And let me tell you this too. We've seen this a million times before. We even saw it with the Riley Strain case, didn't we not? They went onto national news. They went on the News Nation with Ashley Banfield and said, law enforcement isn't doing a damn thing. They're not telling us anything. They're keeping us in the dark. We're finding more information out before, pertaining to this case before they even get involved. What's up with that? And then what happened the very next day? Law enforcement showed up to a press conference that the family conducted. The family put together. Families do this all the time, talking about how they're not getting the justice that, or getting the information that that they rightfully deserve. Okay? We see this all the time. We've seen this countless times in so many cases. So why are they not just letting both parties know? I just think it's I just don't think it's right. I just don't think it's right. But I do agree, maybe they're worried about telling Seth some information because they think he's going to go off and run and tell it. I don't know. Okay. But I think now Seth is on a new wavelength. He's on a new approach. So if he was to get information and they're saying, please keep this, close to the vest, as they always say, I think that he would respect it and keep it close to the vest and let the police do what they do. Right. But there's been a lot of withholding information. I think it's not right. He deserves to know the information as well. Right. Lucy, thank you so much. My 6-year-old daughter is level 3 autism, nonverbal, but she can work the iPad or phone better than me. Love your awesome show. Thank you so much. From Down Under. Okay, Lucy. Thank you from Australia. Appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes. See what I'm saying? These kids are savvy out here, with these phones. All right. Savvy. All right. So it's crazy. But, I appreciate all the conversations, all the comments, opposing, for, against, all those things. You know what I mean? Because we need to have an open conversation and have a fair, open conversation without it being people getting mad at each other for no reason. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there is no right answer here. There is no right answer here. We don't know where Sebastian is. That's the main thing. We have no solid evidence of where he is. We know nothing about what's going on here. All we do know is the information that law enforcement has given us and what the families have given us in regards to this case. But I need to send this home one more time because this is the true part. One piece of evidence that we do know is that, one, that sighting is not Sebastian, which is unfortunate. 2, just a little takeaway from today's show. Seth did a polygraph and he passed it. He may have done it twice, but he passed it. Okay. And 3, the only person that was there in the house when Sebastian disappeared is Katie Proudfoot. She is the last person to see him when she got him in the car driving away from Texas Roadhouse back towards home. So from the moment that they got in the car to the moment she went into his bedroom and he was gone, she was still the last person to see him alive and breathing. And that's one thing we can all agree on. Okay? Sure. Anything is possible. And this, what I'm saying, does not mean that she's guilty. It doesn't. Anything is still possible here. He could have been taken. He could have walked out that door. There could have been a fight that triggered him and he said, "Nah, I'm out." He could have hit up a friend, but then at the same time, he still left that phone behind too. So that's a little bit odd. Again, let's not forget, he left barefoot as well. That's a little bit odd too. But at the same time, you never know. There's parts of me that keep wondering maybe he was talking to somebody on a platform or some sort of forum. They decided to rendezvous, like meet somewhere. He sneaks out of the house, takes that little flashlight, and he ends up being catfished. He runs into the wrong person. That's still possible too. You never know here, guys. You never know. But I think we need to be extremely aware that this is a family. This is a family, okay? A big family, extended family, blended family. They're all connected to this. We have to find some little semblance of respect for all of this. And this is about a kid that still is nowhere to be found. Again, here he is. Bang. We still don't know where he is. And that should be our number one focus. Who is talking, who's not talking to media, all that stuff should not even matter. As long as the information that we're receiving from those spokespersons or the family members, okay? As long as the information that we're receiving from those people are the actual truth, that is what should matter right now. More than anything in the world, that we find out facts and the truth. Not, oh, I did a polygraph, but actually later on, no, I didn't. Oh, here's the information that we're hearing on later on and all that stuff. F all of that. Forget all that. Forget all that noise. What we need to lean on are the reliable sources that are going to be willing to give us the truth to the facts and get us closer to finding Sebastian. That's what matters. Okay? And I will say this. Regardless, okay? Again, regardless of who's the person giving us the information, okay? What matters is we get the facts. So we should do that, right? And the other thing, though, too, I also understood or found out, and I think it's been clarified already, but I'm going to say it again anyway. I think it's something about the clothing that Sebastian was wearing at the Texas Roadhouse. Law enforcement apparently has those clothes. So that question can be allegedly debunked or put to bed at least, right? Because it wasn't a debunked question. It was more of like, hey, can Katie Proudfoot produce those items, right, that he was wearing in the video when he was leaving Texas Roadhouse? Allegedly, they were using that as his scent. They're using it for the dogs, for the scent. It's interesting, though, right? It's very, very interesting. Okay. But nonetheless, he did a poly. There was some pants. Those pants aren't Sebastian's. They were too small. I know that there was glasses, which is frustrating because the glasses, as you know, they just suddenly, you know what I mean? Suddenly the glasses weren't a thing. And I'm like, did they really look into that? Did they really look into that? Kind of curious about that, but you know, that's just me. Okay. But anyway, guys. Yeah, Barbara, like that's what I think, it's a sad case for everybody, it's sad. And hopefully one day we'll get this thing figured out. But I think we need to chill out and go with our heart and go with care. Real talk. That's what we need to do right now. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate you guys for being here. It really does mean a lot. All right. Yes, I know. It's it's tough. We don't want to, we want him home. We want it all figured out, regardless of who did this. Okay. We all just want him home. So we can all agree that, hey, let's just find him. Let's keep talking. If there's any more information that hopefully comes out fairly soon, sooner rather than later, we're able to talk about it, okay? And we're able to cover it. And hopefully we can bring him home, all right? Please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. That would really mean a lot. Don't forget to hit that reaction button as well. That would mean the world to me, all right? Hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook or any of these other platforms that I'm on. Of course, do not forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on Facebook, X/Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. You know what to do. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to crush that subscribe button. That'd be amazing. You want to support the channel, hit that join button down below. Become a member of the family. That'd be awesome. Also, if you want to support even further, you can go over to patreon.com/the Pascal Show. All right, guys. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Again, this is a tough one, right? This is tough. I wish I had good news to give you guys. And hopefully we do get some good news here very, very soon. Okay? That's what matters the most. All right? Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all. Love y'all. Have a great, wonderful, and positive rest of your day. All right? Ignore the nonsense and ignore the drama. All right? Let's stick to the facts. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll be talking soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.